Hello and welcome back. Here's Dubai, the 24 hours. We are, as the observer wall behind you will see, in full dark conditions. Now, there's been all sorts of action the last 5 hours we've been away. In fact, I say there's been fireworks on the track. And John Hindhoff will bring you all that information in a few seconds after you've seen the fireworks at the track.
Well, those fireworks were a little while ago, about an hour ago when they went off. And, I'm sure it didn't distract the drivers too much.
Yeah, those were at 8 o'clock.
So spot on an hour ago. It's Jim Roller along with Paul Truswell and Graham Goodwin of dailysportscar.com joins us as well in the booth. Don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, it's at Specutainment or at Radio Le Mans on Twitter. And on the website, it is radiolemans.com. That is how it stands, he says. Yeah, at the moment. That's a different timing screen that we haven't seen before. Very interesting indeed. As Jerome Blake-Molan crosses the pit straight now, Christian Frankenhout in second place on 187 laps, 2 laps behind. Obviously he'll be 1 lap when he goes across next time around. It's been a fairly busy few hours, Graham Goodwin, since last we spoke to the television audience.
Multiple lead changes. The Black Falcon team that now actually lead the race for, I think, the second time in the last couple of hours, are very much on a fuel strategy, running a fuel strategy race here. It's paying off for them at the moment, as on countback for these pit stops, they seem to be getting a bigger and bigger advantage every time. And I'll hope that at some point during this broadcast we might hear from Sean Edwards, who's actually got out of the car now, to hand over the number 3 Mercedes to Jerome Blake-Molan. The car at the moment has a pretty big advantage, but does always a pit stop at some point. Pretty clear that team are looking, if they can, to save all or part of the fuel stop later in this race.
Blake-Molan right now is 1 hour and 19 minutes into his most recent stint, and so he should be due within the next 10 minutes, I would think, for a stop, and he will certainly, Frankenhout will certainly go back on the lead lap, if not be able to challenge for the lead, depending on just what they do during that pit stop for the number 3 car.
Now the biggest story that we've had, and I'm afraid it is a bit of a tale of woe, not right at the front of the field, but certainly at the front of one of the classes. The SP2 class that was being led for such a long time by the Marcos Racing Lotus Evora, Graham, the Core Oiser car, and that car has dominated that class right across the weekend. And just in the last vestiges of daylight, disaster struck.
Yeah, had it going together with another car, and the team had one very lengthy pit stop, followed by an even lengthier pit stop, which has been utter disaster for the car's race. Domination is exactly the right word, John. It was by far the quickest for non-A6. So A6, shorthand for GT3 for the most part for this race, but that GT4 spec Lotus Evora, run by 30-year race veteran Core Oiser, Marcos Racing International, looks set to come up with a real result, but unfortunately that seems to be history now for the team. And SP2 now actually being led by the 54 car. This is a BMW, SP2, being led by the GT3 Racing Dodge Viper. This an older spec GT3 car, run by a British team, British drivers out here, and a car that's won in the British GT Championship in recent years, John.
Talking about the British GT Championship, here is a man who knows that very well, Matt Bell from the 26 United Autosport team.
Matt, we can tell you've just got out the car because you're hot and sweaty, as all the drivers are. It's quite interesting that it's not as cool as I expected this evening. It seems to be much more humid than we've been used to the rest of the week.
Yeah, unluckily for us, the hottest night of the week is race day. So it wasn't too bad there, to be honest. About hour, I did a 2-hour stint there, 1 hour and 40, it's okay. But when you start to get tired, you start to have to work a little bit harder. When you work a little bit harder, you get a bit hotter. So The last 15 minutes are quite hard, but apart from that, it's not too bad.
What are the challenges of running into night here?
Well, it's not too bad here, actually. The whole circuit is quite well lit. If anything, the fact that it's lit can make it a little bit difficult because it kind of corrupts your headlights a little bit. We have very good headlights on the Audi. So when it's being pitch black, like in places like Spa, for example, it's fine. You have really good visibility the whole time. But to be honest, I think it benefits everyone across the board. I mean, I've got pretty good eyesight, so I find it okay. A couple of the other guys struggled a bit when we didn't have main beam earlier in the week. So it's actually fairly easy from that side of things.
Yeah, it's important to eat plenty of carrots to be a racing driver. Eat plenty of carrots to be a racing driver. Now, during your stint, it was quite noticeable you were climbing up the timing sheets. It appears that some of the other cars are meeting problems. A 26 going like a ticking clock as such?
Yeah, we've had no problems so far. We're having a really good stint there. I was able to stay consistently and do 205s. I did a couple of 204s there, so just keeping it consistent at that sort of level. Traffic's pretty difficult. You can tell some of the other drivers are starting to get a little bit tired. I think a few of them are starting to forget to look at their mirrors. So that makes it a bit more difficult as we run into the night. But yeah, the car's working fine. Guys are working fine. So far, so good.
Now, you are making up ground, but with the minimum time run, how do you actually catch up the rest of the guys? Do you have to wait more for them to slow down?
Consistency is really key here, and being good in traffic. So that is where we can make up time, is really being aggressive in traffic and really, getting it up the inside of slow cars, basically. As other people start to tire and make mistakes, it's my job to stay as consistent as possibly can. That's all you can do, really, and then, others see how your strategy plays out against everybody else's.
So apart from a cool down, do you go and get a sleep now?
Yeah, I'll go get a bit of food, a bit of rest. I think I'm back in the car in I've got a decent break now, I think about 4 or 5 hours, so I should be well rested by the time I get back in.
Oh, it's an easy life for you drivers. Us journos, we're up for the whole 24 hours, aren't we, John?
Well, that is the plan, yes. Thank you very much, Nick Dermond, down there in the pit lane. And Matt Bell, I think, has availed himself very well in this early part of his career, Graham. He's obviously, big brother is Bob Bell.
Yeah, indeed. And Matt, written on his face there was just how tough it is out there. I mean, it's very warm indeed, even though it's full dark here. It's a very hot job out there in a GT3 car through the kind of traffic we've got, with something like 60 cars still circulating now here. But, Matt Bell, I think, destined to be every bit as much of a star in sports car racing as Big Brother. And Big Brother, of course, announced yesterday as one of the roster of McLaren GT factory drivers that will be seeded out to their customer teams in their new MP412C GT3, I think they've got that in the right order, cars in the 2012 season, and that's great news, not only for McLaren, but for Rob Bell and all the people who like to follow his career.
A number of people asking on the Midweek Motorsport Listeners Collective and on RadioLamotte.com forum about the GTE version of that McLaren car. Surely it can't be that far away and get that brand back to Le Mans.
Well, I think yes, it will come, but McLaren are what McLaren are, and they are perfectionists to the last. They will want that GT3 car to be out there and a proven winning force, which currently, as we stand, it isn't. They do have a lot of customers that want to race those cars in all sorts of series all over the world. But at the moment, it's not yet the winning package. It needs to be. The appointment of an impressive roster of factory drivers in no small part is designed to help that. The fact there are some other drivers that have not been appointed as factory race drivers indicates that they're serious about development. So there will be other drivers working behind the scenes to develop that car. But yes, I'm sure a GTE car will come, but my guess will be that it will come only when that GT3 car is the full package.
And I think one of the other big stories since the Motors listeners and viewers were with us last is the number 5 Saudi Falcon car has dropped down to 51st position. Faisal bin Laden is listed behind the wheel now, but it is showing on the hook. So I don't even think that car is back out on the racetrack.
No, it's in the back of the garage at the moment.
90 minutes.
That happened just as Eve and I were going to grab some food, and when you discovered what the question mark meant.
Yes, on the hook.
Paul, we've got some updates for you. There've been some lead changes.
I've got the lead changes. Fortunately, there's a timing screen in the team catering. We've also got the commentary on in the catering. What I didn't hear whether you said or not was that we've got a new fastest lap as well.
That was Matt Griffin.
It was Matt Griffin. You did talk about that. Good. In that case, I'll let you talk about the lead being in the pits.
Nick Damon with the leader in the pit lane.
Beautiful SLS Mercedes. This car actually remarkably looks quite clean still, despite the work it's done. Jeroen Bleekemolen gets out of the car, wave of smoke comes off. He's obviously piloted this thing through to the front of the field. Massively quick stop. I mean, we have been commenting how the gull-wing doors, whilst useless in public car parks, are absolutely brilliant for driver changes in professional sports car racing.
Thanks, Nick. Nick Damon down in the pit lane there. And has he gone straight to the tank?
Yeah, he's gone to the tank.
Yeah.
But he was 40 seconds, 45 seconds to get to the tank. That is a blistering stop.
No tyres.
No tyres. That's the first time I think we've seen a driver change without tyres. Let's find out what it's like out there in the darkness, and it is very dark on the far side of the circuit. Nick Damon has Jeroen Bleekemolen out of that number 3 Mercedes-Benz.
Jeroen, you got out the car in the best possible position in the lead. It obviously, therefore, must have been a very successful stint.
Yeah, I think so. It's getting hard now because a lot of guys are not really knowing where they are going. So you have a lot of traffic and you really have to be careful. Yeah, I mean, generally it went well. We didn't have really problems on the car. You get a lot of pickup on the tires from all the rubber that all the cars lay down on the track. But other than that, it's going very well.
That's a very good point, because not only we've seen a few of the cars are suffering because the pickups going to the ducts and therefore they're getting temperature issues. Is that something you're having to look out for?
Well, I think our car is really good with that. You can scrub off the pickup pretty quickly if you push for 2 or 3 laps. So that's really good. That's going to help us from now on in the race a lot. But for sure, cars will get problems, like you said, with temperatures.
Now, the SLS Mercedes here, there's been a question up in the booth earlier. At the Nürburgring, you seem to be able to run longer than the Z4s on fuel, but here you're running less time on fuel. Is that because the tanks are different or the engine's a bit richer?
Well, we're actually trying to save fuel and try to do it better, but it's not easy because I think they are doing the same. We have this limit of lap time. We can't run any faster than 2:05, so you got to back up you can't go flat out all the time. So that's probably why everyone can save a bit more fuel than normal.
Now, you obviously, actually you look less worn out than everyone else, but how tough physically is it out there?
Well, this car is really easy to drive, so that makes it a lot easier. I remember last year we had the Porsche, and it was very quick but very hard to drive. After 1 hour you were completely done. And now, I did 2 long stints, but actually it's still okay.
You're only get my award for freshest looking driver after a double stint, and certainly the car is now really coming into its own, as are the Mercedes as a whole phalanx.
Phalanx. That's a new word that Nick has learned this weekend, I think. He's looking at words beginning with P at the moment. I worry for later in the evening. Graham.
Good to see Jeroen Bleekemolen there, and Jeroen is one of those old-fashioned sorts of racing drivers who can turn his trade to absolutely anything. He's been a winner, of course, in LMP cars, he's been a winner in GT cars, he's been a winner in single-seater cars, A1GP, of course. He performed beautifully for Team Netherlands, and one of those guys that was always there flickered underneath the absolute ultimate, but he's absolutely world-class, is Mr. Bleekemolen. The Le Mans class winner, leading this race now, and we'll see a lot more of him to come, I think, in the future too.
One of the other cars that's been a big story during the time when we were off motors is the 100 Nissan 370Z, which is the gamer car, currently on Martinborough behind the wheel of that car. That car has made quite a few pit stops. It had a throttle problem. It's had some other smaller issues, but they are carrying on. 5th place in the SP2 class at this point, 50th overall.
And let's not forget these are guys that have got, in the case of Martinborough and Lightcopper, no real racing experience to speak of, coming through the GT Academy, an absolutely fantastic initiative from Nissan PlayStation to bring guys through to the highest levels of sports car racing. And Lucas Adonis, the 2009 winner of the challenge, back here with Jordan Cresson, the 2010 winner, and the 2 winners this year, because we've got the first North American winner, Brian Heidkopper, bought that car. These 3 guys have never sat in a racing car any of them until 3 years ago, and 2 of them until this year, and here they are out there in amongst the professionals, and they're putting up a very splendid.
So it is the 6th car that leads on lap number 194. We're in this pit stop schedule. The top, 4 cars have at least done their 5th stop. Carlo Lussa has just put in a 2:06.8 in the Porsche. Now, is that better than his bogey time?
Yeah, 2:05 is his bogey.
So that's okay. That's the fastest lap for that car, but he's okay. That was his accepted time. So he's making here at the moment.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Number 18.
Yes,
2 minutes 07. So that is a joker time.
That's a joker time. So he's blown one of his laps.
I've got a feeling that car had already blown one. That's been done from memory because I can't. No, I'm pretty sure that car has already blown one of its joker laps. But I think the one that's blown the most of them is the number 6 car with Bernd Schneider and Andreas Zuber, both having gone over or gone under, I should say, the minimum reference time.
Let's go down to Jörg Muller in the pits, who's with Nick Damon.
This is turning into a classic BMW versus Mercedes battle, isn't it, Jörg?
It looked at the moment. I mean, the poor thing is that there's just one BMW left in the front, but yeah, we're fighting hard against those Mercedes.
Do you know what the problem with the 5 car was?
They have an engine problem, and they now start or trying to sort it. And I don't know if they're going to change the engine or try to repair, but it's an engine problem.
So what can you guys at BMW do to make sure you beat the massed hordes of Mercedes?
Well, to be true, you just run without any mistakes and with any failures, because you've seen now we got back to 2nd position because we had to check a brake disc, and it took a little bit long. So you really need to be perfect in your pit stops, and that's the key to win this race.
When the other key is the traffic, you did a long stint early. I mean, how difficult is it out there with the weather and the pickup, of course?
Well, traffic is always difficult. I mean, it's a circuit which is made for normally 30 cars, I would say, and then you're running with about 70 cars on that circuit. This is why the lap times are quite inconsistent at the moment, because you really have to take care that the guys in front of you have seen you before overtaking. So, yeah, you shouldn't take too much risk, but on the other hand, you shouldn't lose too much time. It's always a little bit of a balance thing.
And so the key thing is, if you want to actually make up time, when do you play those jokers?
Oh, we lost already 3. So
was that deliberate or just bad driving?
I would say bad luck. I mean, it was just by half a tenth or something like that, because you always try to be as close as possible at the leg time. Yeah, but I think we have 7 left, so hopefully next morning we can use some of those.
I mean, how much information do you have on your dashboard telling you where you are in relation to those target times?
Well, there's a running lap time. You've got in your dash you did one proper lap, which is your target lap, and then it shows your plus or minus if you're quicker or slower. And this is how you try to drive your lap time.
Is that done by GPS then, not by split times?
No, not just in the system. It's nothing to do with GPS.
Sounds very good. Well done. So there's no excuse for getting it wrong then.
Not really, just if you want to really be close, because it's not that 100% accurate on the hundredths of a second, so it jumps up and down a little bit. I think it's something where they have to work a little bit better on.
I know, the engineers haven't got that sorted out. It's not the driver's fault. Good point, Jörg. There we are. BMW engineers work out your timing much more accurately in the future. Thanks, Jörg.
Yeah, you see, Thomas Enger was telling us that he had his time at several positions around the lap in the Mercedes-Benz. So maybe one up to the 3-point at starting.
Well, they do have machine then. They do have more satellite technology than probably anybody on the planet.
In fairness, any automotive company that can manage to get a satellite moved purely for a motor race, which Mercedes-Benz did in '89 with their partners. With their partners AG. Yeah, attention to detail as well.
Yeah, clout.
I would have said. Car 46 reported dragging its rear bumper. We'll keep an eye on that. That is the Speed Diva Clio, of course. You're listening and watching the Dubai 24 from the Dubai Autodrome, brought to you by Dunlop. Watching the Aston Martin in the pit lane. Now there's another car that's got a drag.
That's the 46.
That's 46.
It is the 46 car. So my apologies. Did I read up the wrong number? I must have in the semi-darkness of our speed lover. Duh, not speed diva. See, that is my eyes at this time of the night.
We've had
Well,
another...
diva, lover.
I'm a lover.
It's a mistake you could make.
It's a fur. Yeah. We've had another class lead change, John, and that's the SP3 leader, as we've got the AF Corsa Ferrari in for a penalty stop. That's Matt Griffin at the wheel of the number 2 car from 7th, but the class lead change is in SP3, and that's a pretty extraordinary recovery drive from Optimum Motorsports, who were down, I think, as far as 12th in class after a delay. Was that a suspension failure earlier in the race, wasn't it? They now lead the class again, 23rd overall, and closing in at the moment on the SP2 leading Dodge Viper. So 2 British teams there in the 2 SP classes, battling away for what is 22nd position overall. And that's an extraordinary recovery drive for the guys in the Ginetta. I think Joe Osborne amongst the crew for the Optimum car, and my guess is that it may well have been young Joe that actually did much of that fast lapping.
And good to see the international teams, you know, really taking this to heart. And it's amazing to see as well. We've just been for a spot of lunch before we came back on the air. And so many British and American and even Australian marshals also eating in the team catering. This is
it's well on over a minute hold now for the 2 car, because I got my watch started late and we're already at a minute, so we're probably at a minute 15. This might be a minute and a half hold. So
wow. That's serious.
They've done something naughty.
I'm not getting the details of the penalties. That's something I'll have to research. Full darkness here at Dubai, with still the number 6 leading it out, that the Heiko Motorsports Mercedes-Benz. But just look at the battles around the circuit. We still have a huge majority of the cars that started this race running. The attrition has been much lower than I think anybody expected. We have had a few cars retiring with mechanical problems. There have been very few incidents of people complaining about being run into, so much so that I can pretty much remember all of them. Meantime, in the penalty box at the moment, a significant caller, Graham Goodwin.
Yep, this is the 2 AF Corsa Ferrari 458, a car that has, I think, led this race. Matt Griffin is currently at the wheel of the car. It was delayed earlier in the race, dropped down from what was a fantastic top 3 battle in the early part of the race between Peter Cox and the Ryder Engineering Lamborghini and the 2 Ferraris. This car, the number 2 car run by Corsa.
They just told him to fire it up.
And it was a speeding in the pit lane penalty.
That must have been some speeding offence.
It's over 2.5 minutes. It's probably closer to 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Might I suggest that wasn't their first ping for that race?
I guess you're quite right. We should also add, I guess, for viewers who've joined us, John, that the other Ferrari, this is the number 12 car, AUH Racing with a Corsa car, which features Bob Barr, Leon Price, Charlie Hollings, and Jordan Brokaw. That car looks to be out of it. The car was stuck in 6th gear, clutch problem, and Rob Barth was telling us just a little while ago that it looked like it was all done for that car.
And it was the number 12 car that you remember having led the race, Graham, not the number 2 car.
Number 2 didn't lead.
No, the number 2 didn't actually ever get into the lead. So the number 12 led in total for 30 laps earlier on, but number 2 never quite made it to the front. That's the AF Corsa car. But sometimes being at the front early on is not a good thing.
Peter Cox has thrown down another joker, 2:04.426. The bogey time for that car is a 2:04.5. So that's another. He just turned the quickest lap time for that car. So another joker being used by Peter Cox.
I think Peter Cox is the only one that's used the joker on that car.
There is the number 2.
This is going to be a deadly pit stop. They've been in the pits for 4 minutes and 36 seconds, and it's just.
And he's not even at the top.
Service, yeah, it's just service and a penalty.
If you're watching on the live timing and scoring on the web, and you're wondering what some of the things are, well, obviously the position is easy. The number of the car is easy. You get a green spot as they cross the line. You get a P when they go in the pits. You get a green circle that isn't filled in on their outlap like an O. And the T stands for Tankstelle, which means that they're at the petrol station.
And there's also a little hook as well.
Yep. Yeah, question mark is the hook.
The other thing that you get, John, just quickly, is that is actually online live. So there's no delay at all. What you see on the web is what's happening.
It's actually a bit more than what's on there as well. Let's go down to Nick Damon, who is down in that number 2 pit.
Matt Griffin, first of all, what did you do to be so naughty and get held for 2.5 minutes?
It wasn't me. Look, I think it was...
Officer, it wasn't me.
Officer, it wasn't me. No, I think both Marco and Nicky had a speeding in the pit lane for the first part, the 60k part. But I was in the car, so I had to serve it. So, yeah, very frustrating being sat there for 2 minutes, but, you know, we had to do it, so there you go.
The race started so brilliantly for you, but you had a spin. What happened there in the first few minutes?
I just got touched by another car in the rear, spun me around. It was unfortunate, really. I think it was a case of the slower car didn't quite thought he didn't quite clear me and just clipped the back and spun me around. But our car is fantastic. I mean, I fought back up to second place, and I just had a stint there, you know, regularly in the 3s. So the car is fantastic. We've had a couple of ups and downs. We had to pit with 2 repairs, which were not down to driving for anything, just 2 little things that went wrong. Lost us a bit of time, but you know, there's a long way to go, and the good thing is the car is very, very fast.
I mean, you have this advantage because you went fast and took the extra ballast. You actually one of the cars that can catch up on pace. Do you think you can make up the gap you're behind in the remaining several hours? I can't remember how many it is, 18?
I mean, this is 24-hour racing, so anything can happen. Honestly, if the top 3 or 4 cars don't have an issue, I think the gap now is too big, but we're going to push, and particularly myself, Marco Ciocci and Nicky Cadet, when we're in the car, we're absolutely 100%. And I think, you know, we're the quickest car on track. Obviously, there's only 2 cars who can do that, but it's not like we're holding back with the traffic. We're pushing 100%, taking kind of calculated risk through the traffic. So that's what we're trying to do, but it's a tall order now. But like I say, this is 24-hour racing.
And you're less than 20 minutes behind. You've got that stop out the way. I mean, and you can theoretically go 2 to 2.5 seconds faster than them legally every lap.
Yeah, and I think you know, most of the time, you know, sometimes we're like 4 seconds quicker, but then you get the odd lap where you hit an awful lot of slow traffic, and then you might do the same route slower than the other cars. So it's not quite 2.5 seconds every lap. It kind of toos and froze a little bit, but from our point of view, it's just maximum attack now. The car's absolutely fantastic. I think my 3rd to last lap I did a high 3, so you know, all we can do is push.
And after the really unfortunate demise of the FF course, so you're holding the Scuderia's honour.
Yeah, it's a pity. I don't know what happened to those, and it's an awful pity for those guys. Rob's a really good friend of mine, and Leon, the gentleman driver in the car, is a great guy. But yeah, we're pushing like hell, and the Ferrari's fantastic around here. So fingers crossed.
Off you go and get yourself towels out. It's too hot talking to me, you know. It's warmer in his car than it is your own Bleecker Molens, that's for sure. Another advantage obviously of Galway's. Just for the information, the FF also had a clutch problem with a mid-engine Ferrari. Is a several-hour change, and a 24-hour race, it's curtains.
Yeah, good point. Mark Bell, fantastic, top bloke. This on the RadioLeMond.com forum from Kurt Hugh, one of our regular posters. He says, I shall hereafter refer to this day as the 13th of June, URE. He's drawing some parallels there. Kurt, magic stuff, mate.
I love your listeners.
That's Radio Le Mans, radiolemans.com, and click on the forums, the other endurance racing section. You'll see there's a live thread there for the Dunlop Dubai 24 hours, and also a list of resources as well where you can get that live timing and scoring.
I just realized this is Friday.
Yes. Lucky for some.
Yeah.
Lucky for some, as they do say. And at the front of the field, it's 15 seconds now. 15 seconds between first and second, Graham, and this one is just going to keep rumbling on. Paul, how are we doing in terms of laps completed? Only the one neutralisation so far.
That's right, including that we're on 200 laps completed at the moment, 201 in fact, just up. You're talking about the number of laps that we might complete at the end of 24 hours, John, and we're looking at something, if they keep going at this rate, in the region of 635, which would blow into the weeds the 2010 record, which was 608. So if they can keep going at the pace they are going, then we're into the let's be a little bit conservative and say 630, but it's certainly the right side for another distance record.
Well, I'm sort of pleased to welcome a friend, but disappointed with the circumstances that we say hello to Faisal Bin Laden again, who has joined us from the Saudi Falklands. Sad to say, your car, at least one of them, is not going round and round. You were driving the 5 at the time. I saw it coming back on the end of a tour-up, which is never a good thing. Tell me exactly what happened.
Well, I came back from a stint, changed drivers, and at the first lap, the oil pump, I think, seized, then the engine seized.
So the engine actually nipped up completely and stopped running, did it?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But, apparently the oil pump cracked. So, you know, it happened.
That is unusual. That is very, very unusual, though.
This is motorsports. Never usual.
So that engine then is now a very nice coffee tin for someone.
Thanks for the idea. I'll take it.
It's not original, I have to say. What are the rules and regulations in terms of being able to change an engine on, and can you do it physically and logistically? Clearly you're not going to be in the running for the race, but there's plenty of time left here. Do you want to get it back out there?
Well, I'm not sure about the regulations yet, but I'm sure the team, you know, read the regulation and asked about it very in detail. And I believe now they're working on it. When we come back, it's going to be really just to be in the car and to get most out of the weekend. So,
yeah. Might see how quick that car can really go.
Well, you never know.
There's a wry smile on the face there, dear viewer and listener. Oh, and there's the number 2 Ferrari with Jack Gerber on board. Just been talking to Matt Griffin, and he, I think, is facing the wrong direction there. Yes, he is. And a chance to have a... Oh, he's been touched. He's been touched. That's the Viper, isn't it? That's the GT Viper. And that is the GT3 Racing SP2 leader. And that's coming into turn number 1. And he's been pretty lucky to get away with that, I think.
The tyre looks broken.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's some suspension damage or tyre damage to the far side of that car from what we're looking at. And you can see it's coming on. There's people going out the side of it. Down the middle of the track, Jack Gerber is struggling to keep that car straight. It may have broken a wishbone or something like that. We had cars going either side of it. He'll be heading, he's almost got a full lap to do as well. Now this could bring out a code 60. I have to say the organisers have a very, very good CCTV system around here. Race control, Chris Norman will be watching this very, very closely to see how that develops, because Jack has got to try and get that car round probably over 3 miles. There's the Viper, which had the incident with it. Let's just have another look at this again. Just watch the right-hand side of the track. That's one of the Gulf Aston Martins going round. Also, well, that was one of the 997 Porsches going through. that must have been, but that's very quick through there, Faisal, when you come out of turn 1 and into that little kink at turn 2.
Well, trust me, it's very fast. And if there's a slow car, there isn't, anywhere to go. You just have a lot of pickup on either side.
And there's another car at the same point of the track, and that's got no rear lights on. That is the 107, the Team Holland car, Team Netherlands car, the ex-stock car. And I don't think he had any rear lights on, and I think he may have had a right rear problem as well, because that car looked down on the right, and you don't put stagger into the cars for this, and that car just come out of the pits, I'm told, by Nick Damon. Well, let's finish off the thoughts while I keep watching the screen, as we're still... Now, there is the Ferrari going very slowly on the infield hairpin, so he's got around about half the lap. What about all your guests that you've had today for Sally Falcons? Faisal, have they had a good day?
Yeah, I think they had a blast. They were everywhere, which was nice. And I think it helps the whole race event, and especially for us, it gives us a lot of motivation to keep going. I think it went well.
The number 1 car is only 18 seconds off the lead, so by no means out of it. Have you driven the 1 car in the race yet?
I did qualifying yesterday at night.
Yeah.
Not yet. I really don't want to drive that car until it's well ahead.
Okay, yeah. That seems reasonable. When do we next see the Saudi Falcons racing?
Next week, actually.
Oh, in Abu Dhabi?
No, in Riyadh. Circuit in Saudi Arabia. We have a radical race,
right?
Which I believe we're 4th in the championship there with my brother Talal, who we met this morning.
Smashing lad with Damien.
Yeah.
Good to meet him. I see you've got Faulkner gainfully employed as well. Make sure you give him a hard time. He needs to be worked hard. You know what it's like.
Definitely, yeah.
Now listen,
he's been too famous with you in the American Le Mans series. He keeps saying Damien.
Yeah, well, he's done a pretty good job. In fairness, you've had some very good people.
You see him jumping around.
He's standing behind us at the moment where I know he can hear me. So what are you going to be doing for the rest of the race? Just hoping for that car to come back in?
Yeah, definitely big time. Organising the whole thing together and having, to push everyone to make this event happen. My father, Prince Abdulaziz, Joe, everyone pushed so hard to get this done. And I hope we can walk out to the top podium.
Well, I've got to tell you, we've been having a lot of internet traffic from our normal listeners and viewers all over the world, and they've really keyed into this very, very quickly indeed. One of our listeners just saying there, he wants to call this the 13th of January because it reminds him so much of the Le Mans kind of spirit, and I can't think of a greater compliment to give to an event, to be honest. So thank you very much for all the hard work, and I know it's a team effort, but thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much, John, for having us.
Well, come back and see us, and hopefully we'll see you back in the car at some stage.
One funny thing, there are some photographers in some of the corners.
Yes.
And the first time I went past, I thought this was a speed camera flash. So I was looking at the speed.
No fine for over
Yeah, thank God.
No fine for over 120 here. You're
Actually, I got
fine.
a speed penalty in the pit lane.
I
got one.
So you got the penalty, but at least you didn't have the fine.
Perfect.
Faisal, thank you very much indeed from the Saudi Falcons. And been a great effort, and that car, as I say, is still just 18 seconds away from the lead, Jim, and that clearly is absolutely nothing at all, given what the drama that we've seen. We've still to see that Ferrari for Jack Kerber come back into the pit lane.
He has not made it back, John. He's not made it back to the pit, so we're still we're going to find out if he's on a hook somewhere. He's not being shown on the hook, so it's going to be
I think the hook only appears on the screen when he gets to the pits.
Okay.
It's the way that they fix the transponder coming across the line, if the transponder is working, so they kind of put the hook on there just to get it past there. But no, dreadful shame for that car. I was just wondering, we didn't see the beginning of it, but I wonder if the Viper, I wonder if Jack, because I think that was only his second lap, and I just wonder if he was still warming things up and braked a bit early, caught the Viper by surprise, and that was why the Viper hit the back of him.
very well may have.
There is a little bit of a crest there going into the first corner, isn't there? Just as you come into the braking area, it goes over a little crest and goes downhill, and the approach to turn 1 is on a downhill line.
So we'll try and get you an update on that as soon as we can find him, or if we get some word from the officials, or if Nick Damon hears anything down on pit road, then hopefully we can get an update on that for you. Also, out on the racetrack, Graham Goodwin is Johnny on the spot with the field glasses and is pointing off into the darkness. Is that a course vehicle there going just to the left of that light pole, John?
Yeah, let's have a look. No, I think they're outside the circuit.
That's what I thought.
I think they are. It's very difficult because the perimeter roads run outside. Yeah, they are. So that number 2 still hasn't got back. Graham.
Yes, I can see where you're confused, John. We've got 2.
Oh, I see. Yes.
It's at turn 3. I think he struggled around that far, and I think he's actually made it to the outside of the circuit and will be towed round to the back of the pits rather than on track.
Is there a cutout
here
there?
Comes, you can see it here.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, that's a very, very good call. Sorry, I was looking slightly further over. I now see the tour vehicle.
A big delay. I mean, after that 2.5-minute penalty, that's a hammer blow for of course, and it looked very, very good for a while, didn't it?
I was just trying to go through the sums when we were listening to that, and he was saying how far behind they were, whether they'd be able to catch up or not. And I was kind of going, well, okay, if they are a second a lap quicker for the next 18 hours, is it going to work for them? And then that happened before I actually got to the sum, but I don't think it was. And certainly now, they've not only got the delay enforced by the return, but there's something broken, so they're going to have to fix that before they even get him back out on the circuit. So I think having had curtains for one Ferrari, it's early doors for the other.
Yeah, wait for the race that looked very good for Ferrari from the very start. It's very bad for Ferrari right now, but
in the pit lane now.
But the car that is recovering now that had a great start. It's number 25 car, gentlemen. Back up second place for Peter Cox and that Lighter Engineering Lamborghini.
On the pit lane now, that car. What they've done is they pulled it across the cutout. They were waiting for a gap, I think, in the... he got around as far as the cutout, and they pulled him across the cutout into the... So they've missed a half of the lap out. That was quite a bit of driving by Jack Gerber there. He knew how far he had to get. He got to it, and then waited for someone to get him the rest of the way. The worry is what other damage is being done. We haven't seen the right rear of that car. Now I can see it for the first time, and the right rear tyre is again coursing a somewhat unconventional line in that it's just wobbling around in the wheel arch. In the pit lane now, with traffic coming in behind it, he has still got his lights on though, Jack. That's very sensible indeed. He hasn't just turned everything off. Now from this side, it all looks great. We can see the car as it comes in front of us now in the pit lane, being towed in. There it is now on the screen. As you can see, I've got to say, by the way, the television cameras make it look a lot brighter out there than it actually is. It's the other side of this car as it goes down towards Nick Damon, the South African flag proudly displayed on the top for Jack. And Nick Damon's in the pit lane waiting for this car to come to him. Nick.
Now it's causing some consternation because the 81 car, next door is also trying to get their car in as well, who's also not under much power. Is following down, but here comes the AF Corsa car on the back of the tow rope. Once again, for me, I'm still hoping for the glider-like release, but there's a very nearly a problem. There's a kerfuffle down here because it's blocking the path of the 81 Mini, which has also got a problem. The 81 Mini has a front lefty laminators as well, so we have two cars in combination at the same time with a puncture. Now, the AF Corsa car has taken a severe battering on that right rear flank. My friend, the cameraman, can come in here. Jürgen, have a look at that. This is where you're going to be looking, Jürgen, around here. Look at the damage. That's come from the assault by the Viper. Now, that's come through. The 101 car has come through, taken that. It's taken out what looks like, that's not a toe link. It's going to, I would expect it's taken out the lower wishbone. Yeah. That is a big hit because that's bent metal, not carbon or anything else. And I think as Jack Gerber comes around to look at that issue, he's going to be particularly unimpressed because even though I've only seen a slow motion replay, it didn't seem very 6 of one, half loss of the other to me, in fairness. Just going back to the Mini, the 81 car, that has a puncture which they've replaced. It looks like he's got away without too much extra damage, John, so I think he's going to be a simple case they've just lost the time. He's driven that well, he's not stripped off that plastic covering which you see on the wheel arches of Minis, so he's done quite a good job, as we see now Jack trying to explain what's happened, or being told what's happened, because he wouldn't have seen it, he just have felt the assault. But this is not a short-term repair, because whilst the bodywork damage I think isn't too serious and that it wouldn't affect the performance of the car, the problem is that they have a toe link to go. Let's see if I can get a quick word with Jack. He's got his helmet on and he can't hear. He's saying, I can't hear you. If I shout really loud, Jack, what happened?
I braked for the corner at the end of the straight and there was a big impact. The guy behind me braked too late.
Yeah, it did seem that. So had you already just passed him, or was he catching you?
No, I think he was behind me. I'm not sure who hit me. I just braked at the end of the straight and there was first a bang at the back and then a bang on the side. Don't know.
That's very bad luck, so there for Jack and indeed the AF Corsa team, as you're saying up the booth, guys. It's very likely that this is taking away what could have been a really exciting outside chance comeback fight for the AF Corsa car. The fastest car allowed to go in the field we have, of course, because of qualifying, but now both the Ferraris are effectively out of the running for victory, which means we're not going to see a prancing horse victory, and we're not going to see an Italian victory. It's very, very likely we're now going to see a German victory. Will it be BMW or will it be Mercedes?
Nick Tierman down in the pit lane, thank you very much indeed.
That 81 car.
So Motors TV just taking a break as Graham Goodwin spots.
The one-on-one car, which is the other car involved in the incident, pitting.
And is there any sense of a surprised look on any of our faces there?
Front left puncture for the Viper, says Nick, down from pit lane. Oh dear, what a shame. You could see it, really. You didn't need to hear what Jack Gerber had to say there.
No.
You could see it in his body language. It was extreme disappointment.
And I think what may have happened was he may have braked a little bit early because he was only on, he'd done his outlap, he was on his first lap at full speed, and he may have braked a little bit early, but it's still the 101's fault. I mean, you've got, if you're the overtaking car, you've got to do it cleanly, and certainly the 101 just drove into the side of him.
He's well past him. I mean, you know, you see the incident, how far back on the Ferrari the shunt is. That's quite remarkable.
Quite odd part of the racetrack for that to happen as well, Johnny. It's well to the outside of the racetrack, that impact. And I don't know, I think someone there lost some concentration, but unfortunate for both teams.
The 101's leading its class, so it doesn't need to be doing things like that. It's not in a battle with anybody. The SP2 leader has got something like 8 laps on the rest of the field. And this is not what he needs to be doing. Doesn't need to be getting involved in other cars. They're clearly having a look at the front wheel on that, Nick.
We see this quite a lot in that the cars have had these front wheel touches, and we've seen 2 cars already which have had toe link issues or steering arm issues. It seems here the problem is more that the bodywork actually behind Jürgen, the bodywork behind the wheel has got pushed forward, and they're actually losing clearance. You can see they've lost the catch between the bonnet. The catch has gone there between the bonnet and the main bonnet and the actual carbon fibre side, but they had to clip that, but they've no longer got clearance for full lock on this front tyre, so they bite a bit. They're going to lose some time here. They should be lucky as far as the wheel steering is concerned, but big trouble.
Well, you're looking at the class-leading Viper, the 101 GT3 Racing Team. It's had contact with the Ferrari of Jack Gerber, the number 2 car, a few moments ago. It's been in pit lane for some time now, nearly 3 minutes. They've changed the front tyre on the left-hand side, which did have a puncture following that impact, but there's clearly some worry about just how much damage there is down there. Nick Damon is Johnny on the spot at the moment, down in the pit lane.
Yeah, the problem is that the bodywork behind the front left wheel has been knocked in the impact. Now that's quite a tight clearance, and now there is no longer any clearance, so when they put on a large amount of left lock, they are fouling the bodywork. Now they've hit it with some very nice hammers, which you know I'm a big fan of. In fact, if you look at it now, they're trying to bend the rear exiting exhaust so they can effectively shift the whole bodywork backwards. So they've whacked that forward to make the space wider so they can pull this whole thing back with a damn good clunk, which will give them clearance there so the car can turn. Otherwise, of course, you'll see that very dramatic white smoke as the tyres effectively cook themselves on one corner, and this will be game over. So some heavy hitting needed to get the 101 back on the track as they now leave, but I think this might be a visitor more than once in the near future. They try and sort this problem out. Engine up, car down, are they about to go?
Well, thanks for the show and tell, Nick. Next week's lecture is a 3rd level course on astrophysics here on the Open University. The car does leave, as I say, had plenty of laps on the 2nd place. Pit stop's coming for the leaders shortly, so let's quickly have a word with another one of our guests who's popped in to see us here in the studio from Nissan Europe, Darren Cox, live on Motors TV and around the world at RadioLeMans.com. And it's been a very interesting day for your 3 Nissans. You have once again experienced the ebb and flow of motor racing, but the 100, I think, is still sitting relatively well in 5th position in SP2. Wasn't one into a podium spot at one stage.
Yes, it's Friday the 13th, John, and we've had all of our own bad luck on Friday the 13th today, unfortunately. You know, we knew the GTR was here. It's a part of the development program. We were expecting that to, maybe to have a few issues. It's had more than a few issues, and that's very sad to see that. Unfortunately, won't be coming back out on the circuit again. And the Zeds have just had some random problems we've never had before. Nothing that you could expect or plan for. But the great thing is, none of them caused by our drivers. You know, they've kept it away from all the other cars, and no damage on the car. Just random things you wouldn't expect to happen.
Let's talk about the GT3, the GTR championship winning car in GT1. The whole tenet of that championship and the regulations have changed, and JRM, who won the championship for Nissan, as we see the Thailand Integra Peter Company Racing Team, great name for a team, off the circuit on the infield hairpin, and we hear that the number 2 Ferrari is out already after that incident with Jack Gerber. Well done to them for turning it around. The GTR, as you say, very, very new, but is that the World Championship future as far as Nissan's concerned? Because of course the GT1 cars now goes to GT3 regs. So I mean it's open for customers to buy, isn't it? And indeed, I know that RJN have committed to it, and I saw someone else has committed to it as well. News from back in Birmingham this weekend.
Yeah, no, as you say, the GT3 spec is can be widely used in a number of different places.
Like here?
Like here, for example. I'm sure RJM will be using it in the Block Pan series, as you can imagine. Also, the other news was from a German team. They'll be using it in the ADAC Masters Championship. So that car can be used in a number of different places, unlike the GT1 car, which of course was restricted to that class.
Now, I did say that we were going to ask you about prototype racing the last time we're here. We're looking at sports cars at the moment, but what a year you've had in the last 12 months with winning the P2 category at Le Mans, World Endurance Championship next year. Is that an opportunity for Nissan as an engine supplier, in point of fact, to be able to showcase its technology on a world stage?
Absolutely, I think it could be a fantastic championship that we're seeing the start of next year. And the great thing is that we have, we are the engine of choice now. As you say, we won Le Mans, we won the European Le Mans Series, and we also won the Intercontinental Le Mans Cup. So, everybody that's looking to that class is talking to us about our engine. And as you say, that gives us a great platform to talk about our engine technology on a global basis.
In quite simple terms, no motor manufacturer, however big or small, can afford to do anything that doesn't have a return. So what is it about sports car racing, whether it's the GT form that we're looking at now or the prototype and the ACO regulations that we were talking about, what is it about that that gives the return, and how do you get the return for Nissan? Because ultimately someone's going to be asking you where all this money's going.
Well, yes, quite regularly, of course, they ask that. But luckily, we've got some great answers, and the great answers based around GT Academy, really. You know, we do things very differently. We don't go racing just for racing's sake, and as you've seen from the GT Academy program, you know, that is we're telling stories about people and about our products and about endurance racing. So that people are interested in that, not even normal motorsport enthusiasts. They're interested, of course, but also people that aren't interested. We put a huge amount of games across, and someone said to me only today that you know, motor racing is becoming an old guy's sport, but you guys are bringing it to the youngsters who are playing on their PlayStations, and actually then they come and watch this type of event, certainly online. We're seeing you know, a lot of people watching this online today and listening to your excellent commentary, John. But you know, these guys are new to motorsport, and we brought them in through the PlayStation GT Academy program.
We're just about to get some stops from the leading cars. That's Alexandre Guédet coming in the 22 Porsche. Before that happens, Jim Roller scribbled down on the pad in front of him. Are we going to see the GTR GT3 in the USA anywhere? I've got a lot of people listening in the US. What's the plans for now? I know you're Nissan Europe and you'll say that, but what can you tell us, if anything, about where that car might pop up?
There's a huge amount of interest in that car for the US, as there is in many other markets. Obviously, the obvious thing that everybody's doing at the moment, Audi have just done it, Ferrari have done it, is to make a Grand Am spec version. And I think with the way that championship's going, that would probably be our first choice. But I think we've got to get this car ready with this spec and get that rocking and rolling this year. But you know, wouldn't it be great to go to the Daytona 24 Hours with the GTR? With our history there.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic history at that track. And I do hear as well that the Audi and the Mercedes-Benz that are here, the same types here, are likely to get a national homologation for GT2, GTE in the American Le Mans Series as well. Now that's a slightly different ball game. Talking a little bit technical here for those of you who are watching and listening to us. I'm sure you know what we're talking about. I mean, is that something that the GTR GT3 could also be competitive in?
Well, I'd hope it would be competitive, and as you say, we're sort of watching and waiting to see what happens there. But I think, talking on behalf of my US colleagues, I think Grand Am would be their preference, really.
And we'll be at Daytona in a couple of weeks' time with Motors TV. Over 15 hours of live broadcast back to Europe with some of the team that are here this weekend. Are you at Daytona by any chance?
No, I don't think I'm going to that one. It's one 24-hour race I'll miss.
What can you expect now for the rest of the race? I know that your guys never give up. Bad news about the 32 car, but the 100 and the 120, the two Nissan Zs, I mean, you can kick the Z, but you can't kill it, can you? It's a fantastic piece of kit. It always has been.
Well, as you say, the guys don't give up. We've got a fantastic team. RJM Motorsport have been our partners, certainly since I've been involved in Nissan Europe. They've done some great stuff for us, you know, going back to touring car days, the Dakar, whatever. And they've got that Dakar spirit, if you like, and you need that in 24-hour racing. And they just won't give up. And you know, I was saying to we've got a lot of people here that aren't motorsport enthusiasts that have come here for various reasons. You know, we've got corporate guests and fans, and we've got dealers and customers of ours here. So you have to explain the basics to these guys. And you know, we all have seen in this type of racing, you know, a class being won by 20 laps, you know, or a class being won by 20 seconds. So all we can do is keep going. You know, one car's 10 laps off the lead, and one car's 20 laps off the lead. But I'm not going to say it, but there's still quite a long time to go, and we'll just keep plugging away.
Just one, I said a final question, but just something that Jim's pointed out there. How is it different? Say the P2 program, you're just an engine supplier. How do you leverage that then? How do you activate that then? Because clearly there's not a full car for people to look at. Slightly different for people to get their heads around. And yet at Le Mans, it seemed as though you did get your heads around that. Explain how you did that and what the thinking was behind it.
Well, wait until you see what we're going to do this year, but we were just warming up. You know, as you say, we're an engine supplier rather than having the complete car, but as I say, people are interested in stories. If you look at Le Mans over the last 3 or 4 years, what have the stories been? The stories have been Nigel Mansell coming back. The stories Sebastian Loeb racing there. The story Patrick Dempsey racing there. People are interested in these stories. Yes, they're interested in Peugeot versus Audi at the front. There's always a story at Le Mans. And we've got a story which is we've taken PlayStation games. Your listeners must be getting bored of this story, by the way. We've taken PlayStation games. We've taken PlayStation games and we're making them into racing drivers. And that is an idea that everybody in the street, whether you're a motor racing fan or not, can identify with. At first, they wanted to do the gravy. And now they realise we can do it, and they're interested. Who's the next guy? Is this guy better than the previous guy? Where are we going to do it next? We did it in the US this year. Maybe we'll expand to other markets going forward.
When does GT Academy start for 2012?
We're imminent with the planning now, and I'd imagine the boot camps will be in August. So get on your PlayStation now.
Keep watching the updates. Keep always download the updates.
Yeah, absolutely, and make sure you're driving this hand, obviously, when you're on the PlayStation.
Dan, thanks very much. Come back and see us in a little while. They've all changed again. By then, 10 and 20 laps down at the moment. Let's see where you guys are when you come back. Thanks for coming to see us.
Thanks, guys.
And some action on the track to talk about. Change for second position there, Paul Truswell.
Yes, I kind of waved at you while we were talking to Dan there and said, look, this is going to happen, and spot on as we finished talking to him, so the change happens. Number 3, the Black Falcon Mercedes getting ahead of the BMW Z4, which in the hands of Abdulaziz Al Faisal just isn't going quickly enough, or at least not close enough to its minimum reference time. 2 minutes 8, 2 minutes 7s are the order of the day for number 1 at the moment, which is not the same sort of pace as Claudia Hurtgen or Jörg Müller were doing in it. And as a result of that, it's dropped away as we started this particular stint following the pit stops. It was 8.6 seconds behind number 6, and now it's dropped away so that it's now getting closer to about 45 seconds, and that's just over the course of this stint. So number 1 is actually due in next in any case, and I'm looking at that being in about the next 5 or 6 minutes or so, I reckon, for Abdulaziz Al Faisal to come in and change. And I would hazard a guess that we're going to go back to Edward Sandstrom at the wheel of that one. That would be the kind of logical sequence if indeed Faisal bin Laden doesn't get into it, as he suggested he wouldn't until it was into the lead. Well, I'm afraid it's dropped down now to 3rd place. And the effect of that as well has been that the leading Mercedes, the number 6, the Heiko number 1 car in the hands of Christian Frankenhout, that has drawn away now and has a lead of some 40 seconds. Say when the session started, it was about 8 seconds ahead of the number 1 car. It was 34 seconds ahead of the number 3 car, so he's not only been drawing away from the number 1, but he's also been drawing away to a lesser extent of the number 3 car. So the top 3 now are separated by less than a minute. And that's not bad going when we've had over 8 hours of this race. I kind of skipped over the 8-hour mark without realising it, but 8 hours now have gone, and less than a minute separate the first 3 cars. There is then, though, a whole lap back to the 3rd place car, number 16, the 2nd string Heiko Motorsport Mercedes in the hands of Rodolfo Gonzalez. Again, hasn't been lapping quite as quickly in the hands of that driver, and as a result of that, he now, as I say, is a lap behind the field. So there's 3 cars on the lead lap, although it's fair to say he's fairly safe in that 4th position, because the Porsche number 18 is the next car up in 5th place, and that car in the hands of Carlo Lussa, number 18, is running strongly enough in 5th place, gets more mileage, gets a greater distance between pit stops for number 18, but it doesn't quite have the same pace as any of the cars ahead of it, so it can only catch up by virtue of making fewer pit stops. It has done 1 fewer pit stop up until now. That is to say, it's done 4 instead of the other who have done 5, although very shortly the others will have done 6, and Carlo Lussa is still not in the pits.
And in the pits, however, is the number 100 Nissan 370.
Brake fire.
A little bit of a warm brake on the left front there. They've suffered from this throughout the race. Nick Damon is on the other side of the car from this, wisely, Nick.
And avoid getting too burnt during a race. There is a story from the Jordan team from 1997. I will tell you one day, which I don't cover myself in glory. They've had these kind of heat issues all through the run. This time it doesn't be very concentrated on that front left. Now also remember they've been complaining about braking issues as well. Initially in Lucas Ordonez's first stint and also with Jan Mardenborough later on. And then of course we had them dead stick and on the back of the truck at the second. So now they are looking at the problem. So it's certainly not run trouble-free, this car. And it's, again, with the GT4 regulations, it's not a single central stud. You can go whiz, 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 whiz. Not to the speed of our NASCAR friends, who can do it in about half a second, but more to the mere mortal speed. And they're now looking in there, as we can see. And of course, it actually is. There is fire. Probably it's rubber debris that's got into the air, the ventilation part of the disc. And as you can see, it's a floating disc. So you saw it wobbling there. But that's what's catching fire. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of heat. And of course, you can't blow it out with air because that would make it worse. We have a fantastic fire. And Nissan have had enough fires so far today with the problem on the GT3. But these are these little problems, and they are caused, I would think, most likely by pickup. And there is so much pickup, once you have to go offline, and sometimes you go offline to overtake, and sometimes you go offline to be overtaken. And that's the key point as the car comes down. I think it's Brian Hertinger who's got in the car. It may be Jordan. I think it was Brian who was next in. I can see Jan, I can't see Jordan. So I'm going to guess it's Brian who's got in the car. As it goes away, I'm going to go work my magic on Nissan Academy drivers. I think Lucas might be interested in talking to us. I'll come back in a second, John.
Of course, yeah, I think it was Brian who was in before Jan, if truth be told.
Yeah.
So I think it's Jordan Tresson in the car. Thank you, Nick. Yes, it is Jordan Tresson, the Frenchman, taking that car back out again.
To the tank.
To the tank, yes. Let's look for some battles in some of the classes. Well, first of all, the 997 class is closed up a little bit. Now only 2 laps between Porsche Racing and Car World. That was much more before
3 laps.
And in the SP2 category, GT3 Racing, the Viper, 195 laps, and he's lost almost all of his lead. Remember, it was significant before. And I'll tell a lie, actually, because the Lost Morris Racing team now are in second in SPT, so that's another change. And they are now 6 laps behind, so he's lost a couple of laps. And that means there must have been a change. The Nova Race Arancio is down into, well, they're in SP3. What's happened to the other SP2 cars? They've all hit problems at the same time. SP3 GR Motorsport and Optimum Motorsport. Optimum continue to take big chunks out of the cars ahead. Just 21 seconds between them now in first and second, with the Racer Industries car in third position. Let's go back down to the Nissan pit and to Nick Damon.
Lucas Ordonez, it's been a challenging first few hours to the 100. Lots of problems. How was that last stint for you?
Yeah, we started the race with quite a few problems, but the team is doing a fantastic job solving that quickly. And yeah, I just came back of the car, and the car feels really nice now, much better. We improved on the brakes. That was my concern at the first stint. So the car is more easy to drive, more easy for a 24 hours race, and yeah, we're all happy. And just only one thing, that my radio was not working, so I had no contact with the team, but everything okay, everything good. I had a really good stint and easy, steady with a lot of traffic, but everything okay.
Now, you obviously were liking the brakes, so you managed to set fire to them when the car came in.
Yeah, well, I was driving quite confident, and the brakes came on fire when I came onto the pit. I was not pushing like hell, but in a 24 hours rhythm, so everything okay.
It's been quite a learning experience for Brian and Jan. Jan especially had a very troubled session, didn't he? He had a brake problem, then he came in with the car had to be towed in. I mean, they're learning a lot for one race.
Yeah, of course. They are sharing two cars in this race, so they are getting a lot of time in the car, which is fantastic. And yeah, they're learning a lot with this quite small problems. This is racing, so they have to learn that first of all, and they are doing a great job. So,
Lucas, thank you very much for talking to us. Yes, they've been trying time with these Nissans this time, but they are still soldiering on. And of course, we all know no one knows where they're going to finish till the end of the 24 hours.
So we are at local time 10:10 in the evening, if you prefer. 15 hours and 50 minutes still to go, or better still, Christian Frankenhout is on lap 221, and remember, this is a timed race, so it will finish at exactly 24 hours. How many laps will have done by then? Only Paul knows.
Well, 630 is kind of the schedule at the moment, and allowing for a bit more purple. We'll see how we get on, but certainly it's looking as if it's going to be a record at this rate, John, so that's good news. The number 1 car came in to make its pit stop, so Abdulaziz's Al Faisal, as I thought he would, came in and made his pit stop out of 3rd place. I suspect he would rejoin without actually losing that 3rd place. He's having the tank refueled at the moment. He's in the fuel station. We also had the number 18 come in, and after a bit, although that was on schedule, I missed it. It was one that I hadn't predicted coming in, so number 18 will have lost more ground to the 4 cars that he is already a lap behind, but he should again maintain his 5th place. The gaps between the cars are kind of extending at the moment to the point where people are not losing ground or losing positions, or very many positions, when they make pit stops.
Now, one of the fan favourite cars, if we had a fan favourite wall as we do at the Nürburgring, would undoubtedly be the VDH Vermeulen Racing DNRT V8. This is one of the stock cars. There it is in a slight state of dishabille. Nick Damon, what is going on with our stock car friends?
Well, we love this car. We love the crazy Dutchman. We see one of them is Ruud Volbrecht, who's brought this vehicle with you. Now, it seemed to have been turning a lot of laps. What's brought it back to the pits?
Well, the problem is the gearbox at the moment. Second and third gear are gone. It was noisy a couple of laps. I came in 2 laps ago. They sent me out again, just ruined it, and then we put in a new one.
So you're going to do a quick gearbox change now, but what's the car like out there? Because it's completely different from anything else, isn't it?
Well, on the straight, it's almost the fastest car around here, but we have problems in the corner because of the tires. And we didn't want to put on tougher tires because the rest of the car wouldn't make it. But now we still have a gearbox to replace.
Now, one question, that's a very, very, very black car.
Yeah.
How does everyone else see it?
Oh, we have lights like everyone else.
I think you got pinged for not having lights at one point, didn't you?
No, I forgot to turn on the switch, I heard, so that happens, you know.
Was that the kind of the Batman stealth mode, just to go through the whole field?
Yeah, we are like a stealth, yeah. So nobody will see us for the next hour, but that's because we're in the pit box.
That's great. Best of luck. Hope you get the car back out there. It's fantastic to see it. And really, this is the spirit of the Dubai 24 Hour. What Preventic want to bring along are people who just have an idea in the pub and turn it into a racing dream.
Now, this was just a few minutes ago here on the front straight. This is the Honda Integra.
The Thailand car, right?
Saw the car. This is the pizza delivery Thailand car that had its problems earlier on off the circuit. Paul?
The other thing that has happened on the circuit in the last few minutes is Peter Cox, who was making up good ground, having had a pit stop fairly recently, after which he was in 6th place. After the pit stop, he got back to 7th. He's now dropped back to 8th, and there's a suggestion on the screen that he's got some damage to the rear bumper, which might mean that he's had a similar problem to the thing that befell whoever it was.
Jack Gerber.
Jack Gerber, that's it. Thank you, Jim, for just reminding me of that one. That pit stop has happened, or that is something that's happened on the track. Meanwhile, in the pits, the race leader, number 6, is in. This is the Heiko Motorsport car, which will be Christian Frankenhout to hand over. John. Christian Frankenhout to hand over to one of the 5 drivers in that car. Now, the only one I think who's not been in it is Max Nielsen, who had everybody else in that number 6. So by all the fair and right in the world, it will be Max Nielsen, but we'll let you know who gets in when we know. And that, of course, will allow the number 3 Black Falcon Mercedes back into the lead again. And that Black Falcon car is routinely getting a little bit more laps out of its tanks full of fuel. It's got 41 out of its last 2 stints, that number 3 car. And to compare that, for example, with the number 6, which has just been in, that's got 37 laps out of its last 2 tankfuls. So interesting, an extra 4 laps that the number 3 has been able to do on the tankful. And between 3 and 6, just checking, I don't think there's a difference in fuel tankage. The actual size of the tank, I think, is the same on both of them, and the amount of fuel they can put in is 110 litres for the number 3, and for the number 6 is 110 litres as well. So no real reason other than just saving fuel, but that was something that we heard from one of the drivers, wasn't it? Jeroen Blekemolen, wasn't it? He was saying that they're trying to get better fuel consumption out of that number 3, and so far it's working for them. If they continue at this rate, I suspect they might actually start to lead the race for more of the time than they're not in the lead of the race. Currently, they're not in the lead of the race for more of the time, but as this extra economy helps them along, then it will eventually swing around into their favour.
Thanks, Paul. Paul Trustwell. 2 to my right. 1 to my right is the mood is up, is Jim Roller. And we'll rejoin our Motors TV audience in just a few moments' time and restart the conversation. Don't forget, at Specutainment and at Radio Le Mans, I can recommend Ask Daily Sports Car, DSC editor, excuse me, as well. The orange balloon in the sky is in fact the moon over the main straight here at Dubai Autodrome. Checking in on the RadioLeMans.com forum, which is running nicely this evening. Here in Dubai, it's 20 minutes past 10 or thereabouts. A number of people talking about these target times again, and I still have to say I'm not sure that everybody's quite got their heads around them. They are elected times that the teams take basically to set their performance levels, in the same way as at Le Mans you would choose your tyre size or your restrictor size to affect your tyres, or your tyre size to affect your restrictor size and your weight. It's pretty much the same thing here. How much fuel you can put in at any one time, your ride height and your weight are set by how fast your car is going to lap, and that is set by yourselves. You decide where it is. And a number of people on the forum saying, but that means anyone who has a problem can't drive back. Well, I placed before the cons Optimum Motorsport in SP2, who have been lapping as quick as 2:12.7. They're going around in 2:18.4s at the moment, but the little Ginetta, which had a nightmare earlier on with a broken rear toe link and dropped well down out of contention, is now back the second in the class, chasing down the JR Motorsport 54 car. And there's a car with a story in itself. That started off as an A5 car, but they found that they were a bit quicker than they thought they would be, and rather than take the extra weight and the less fuel in their own class, they moved up into SP3. It's been a long day. Moved up into SP3, where the rules this was slightly different. Yes, they're against some more specialised machinery.
Doesn't seem to be hurting them any.
Not at all. Leading the class. Leading that class. Ahead of the two Ginettas, which are purpose-built race cars, of course. Optima Motorsport and Las Moras Racing Team. Excuse me, Nova Racer Aranco in there with Racer Industries. There's a good story there with that third place car. The Racer Industries Australia car is the Holden Astra Coupe that we saw right at the back of the grid with Nick and his grid walk, which seems barely minutical. It's a pretty good battle back now. The leader, Thomas Jaeger, going past the Seca and getting pushed off the circuit at turn number 2. This was just a couple of minutes ago. And up the inside, the 14 Alessandro Garofaro also coming through, showing you every lap there's action here. And I'm sorry, I'm just not accepting the fact that these guys aren't pushing and they're holding anything back when you see pictures like that from the head of the field. 2:05.435 last time around from Thomas Jaeger. Now, there is the Viper back in the pit lane, leading its category still, but having had that incident with Jack Gerber, they were in once with a broken front wheel and a puncture, and back in again. Nick Damon is down with the Viper team. This is the GT3 Racing team leading the SP2 category. Nick, you suggested that car might come back in. It has.
Yeah, it's come back in again. It's again this problem on the front left. I'm with Andy Ruhan, the driver who's just got out. Andy, what happened to cause the damage?
Coming down the straight, I was alongside Max Steele, the Ferrari, and he just came in on me at the end of the straight. I think he'd slowed because those guys have been lapping at 2:04s, 2:05. I was behind him for about half a lap, and I got a better run out of him alongside him. Thought he'd seen me, flashed my lights, and then he just came alongside.
Now, you managed to carry on for 3 or 4 laps, and then you got a puncture. Was it the actual crash that caused the damage to the front left fender, or was it the burst tyre?
I think the damage caused from the crash caused the puncture. It didn't come on till 3 or 4 laps. It was bad handling, but then we came in after 3 or 4 laps. Looks like I kept it going for the next 20 laps, but it looks like it's a bit worse now.
So this would be the time you should have come in, yeah? So this is not a second out of phase stop, but now you're having to fix the problems caused by the issues earlier.
That's correct, yeah. We had an out of phase stop because of the puncture, but this is when I would normally change. We're low on fuel now, so we'll be going to fuel anyway.
Thanks, Andy. So we look around this way. Yeah, they are reasonably happy to let the car go. They've worked on that front left. Again, it'll be interesting to see whether this is the last time we see them or whether they have to use another bigger lump hammer to get sorted out as they dive off for fuel. But there we go. Interestingly, the 101 driver is convinced that the blame is with the car number 2, and car number 2 is convinced it's with 101. Kel's the breeze.
Here's an incontrovertible truth with an incident involving racing drivers. How many people are involved? That's how many opinions you'll have. It's as simple as that, Jim. Paul Truswell. Yeah. Paul Truswell, at the end, just before that interview, you were peering at the computer screens in front of you.
Yes, I sort of had a job for Nick, really, because Frank Yu in the United Autosports Audi number 26 has been in the pits for some quarter of an hour now, and he's lost places whilst he's been there. He was in 11th place when he came in. He's now in 15th. I was in 10th place when he came in. He's now in 15th place, and he's at the moment just losing positions whilst he's stationary in the pits. And I just wondered whether Nick could use his Audi experience to go in and give him a hand with fixing whatever's wrong with that Audi R8, the number 26 car.
The number 30 Lamborghini is in and out.
Quietly climbing up, almost to the top 10 now.
Yeah, that is heading off to the fuel. although Max Nielsen lost about 5 seconds last time around to Thomas Jäger, who's been pinging the 205s in as regular as clockwork since he got into that car. And he's been in that car on track since he last left the pits for 1 hour 11 minutes.
Yes, he'll be coming in again, John. Let's go back to that one. As I said earlier on, that car was doing 41 laps on its last 2 stints. So if he does another 41 on that stint, he'll be coming in on lap 234, which gives him another 8 laps, so another quarter of an hour before we get the number 3 car coming in for a pit stop. And Max Nielsen, as we say, taking his time to get used to that driving, and we're going to see what I think it's going to be more interesting to monitor the gap between 2nd and 3rd place. Number 6 Mercedes in 2nd place for Ico car, and the Schubert BMW Z4 number 1, which now has Edward Sandström back at the wheel a bit, and so is going a bit more quickly than it did when it had Abdelaziz's Al-Faisal at the wheel of it. So each of the teams having a less quick driver in it, and as the teams cycle through their driver rota, so eventually this will kind of wind itself off. But at the moment, as you mentioned, John, the BMW Z4 closing in on Max Nielsen in his Mercedes. Thomas Jäger due into the pits in about 14-15 minutes.
And Sandstrom only now 54 seconds in arrears, and he's only been in that car 13 minutes. The Iron Man in the top 10 at the moment is Rolf Inischen in the Porsche number 20. That's the Stadler Motorsport car. He's already an hour and 30 from the last time that he left the pit lane. And those Porsches running to the 207 mark, I think that car, if I'm not mistaken, have been absolutely outstanding on their fuel mileage, haven't they, Paul? They've really done well.
They have, and only 4 pit stops for that car, the number 20 of which you speak. So it's been going not only quickly enough. Yes, it is a 2 minutes 07 lap time is its target. It's sneaked under once, but apart from that, they've kept the lap times pretty consistent at just over 2 minutes and 7 seconds. And yeah, that car number 20 due in for its 5th pit stop within the next 10 minutes or so, next 15 minutes maybe. So about the same kind of time as we'll be seeing the number 3 Black Falcon Mercedes coming in.
Looking through the classes, the Force Racing 997 leads that particular class, the 997 class, up to 17th overall, and only 19 laps behind the leaders now. Have had a fairly, touch wood, untroubled run. The 2nd place car got close to them on the last pit stop cycle. That's the Car World Motorsport car, but they've now dropped back to 4 laps behind after they made their pit stop.
And they also had an overfuel fire here, so they have not had a trouble-free run. The 43 car has had the most trouble-free run of that class at this point, and the 40 car is still out there plugging. He's got 196 laps complete, 3rd place in the class, so the best of class racing team is still lurking if either of these 2 teams have any trouble. Well, albeit he's 40 laps down, but a major problem.
But laps here are short. 2 minutes a lap is exactly that.
So it's 80 minutes. So that's, a little over an hour behind.
Gearbox problem, that is. That's the SP3 has been led by the BMW of JR Motorsport, the 54 now. And he's got some 40 seconds on Optimum, who continue to come back to them. Let's head down to the pit lane. Nick Damon has gone up to Audi Land to get a bit of an update on United Autosports, and he's gone to the top. We know he likes only talking to the top people. Zach Brown is the man behind Just Marketing International and United Autosports. Nick?
Zach, walked up here to come have a chat with you. Unfortunately, I found both your cars in the garage at the time. What's the teething troubles you're having?
We're having electrical issues. The 36 car that was just in, that was routine, but we had an electrical problem with it earlier. We have an electrical problem now with 26. We haven't solved. It's the same problem as we had in the 36 earlier. We're having some sort of short and having to reset the fuse. So we've not had it before, not sure why it's happening, but fortunately we're able to get it fixed.
I mean, it's the, I suppose the unique conditions here. It's the heat and the darkness and the wind and the dust. Perhaps that's something that's causing a problem with the Audi's electrics.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what it is. I know it's causing a problem with the drivers. They're saying it's really hot out there. So it's a tough race, long way to go. We still have both cars in the top 20, so, you know, like to be running a little bit stronger, but long way to go.
You're one of the first guys to run the Audi R8 LMS. I mean, it's been a good car overall, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a great car overall. We've, you know, we got a lot of miles on them now. And, you know, you keep rebuilding them. We didn't have any problems year one, and it's kind of starting to creep up on us here a little bit. So, you know, getting some wear and tear on them.
Now, Zach, I'm going to ask you a question, because I believe I know the answer, so don't try and sandbag me. What does the future hold for United Autosports as far as the cars you'll be running?
We're going to run a couple of McLarens in the Blancpain Series, and then we'll run the Audi at Abu Dhabi and Bathurst. Maybe bring one also to Spa. So we're trying to figure out what to do with our Audis, but our full-time program is going to be our Blancpain McLaren cars.
That's a pretty good program, but also, of course, you ran a P2 at Petit Le Mans last year. Are we going to see you in the big prototypes?
I hope so. If we do, it'll be the second half of the year. It's certainly something we aspire to do. That's why we did Petit Le Mans. I loved it. We loved it. So we want to get there, but one step at a time.
Now, of course, you've also got an involvement with Nissan as well. So how's that going to work with their plethora of GT3s and GT2 cars and, of course, Nissan engines in P2?
Yeah, you know, my agency, JMI, we've now been named Global Agency of Record for Nissan. So that's a separate business. But, you know, clearly if we get into LMP2, I've got some relationships and loyalty there. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was in the back of our car.
What is it about sports cars that has your attention so greatly, so generally across so many classes at the moment?
I think the sports car racing right now is so unbelievably competitive. You know, 73 cars here. The Blancpain Series is going to have over 60 entries. The racing's great. All the manufacturers involved. You know, we just announced Mark Blundell's coming out of retirement to race with us full time. So the drivers want to race in it. The tracks are fantastic. I think it's the most competitive racing.
Putting your JMI hat on, are we in a situation now where sports car racing is becoming a compelling proposition for sponsors as well as drivers?
Yeah, for sure. You know, you've got the big name drivers, you've got the manufacturers in. If you look at the World Endurance Championship and GT1, a lot of manufacturer involvement. You know, in the Le Mans now, you're going to go from 2 manufacturers in P1 to 4 or 5. So I think it's sports car racing's on the rise.
I mean, going back here to Dubai, Zach, you've got fantastic experience all around the world of endurance racing. Where does this one list in your rank of must-dos?
The Dubai race? Well, you know, I'm envious. I'm not driving of my other guys. So from what I've seen so far, it's right up there. A little dusty, but definitely a great way to start the year.
Fantastic. Let's hope the car gets running as it was a couple of hours ago when it was looking blooming quick. Thanks for talking to us.
Interesting words there from Zach Brown. He's got fingers in lots of pies. A man who Nick will know from his Formula One days has had a lot of dealings at the very highest level of motorsport. Moves in the rarefied circles of NASCAR Sprint Cup sponsorship deals as well. Interesting to hear what he's saying about the sports car scene at the moment, and for someone who's an enthusiast in sports cars, I think good news, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. Just mentioned the leaders come in, but I think it's something else that we were saying earlier on in the week about the popularity of sports car racing. You know, it's becoming less of a backwater and more mainstream motorsports and more media conscious. Everything about it is good.
And quite clearly, Zach's not going to put his Just Marketing International JMI reputation on the line if he doesn't think he's going to be able to deliver. Oh, and there's the 2 car with a spin. Now it's Jack who's still in that car, I think. Yes, Jack Gerber, as the 26 United Autosports Audi has just got out. So we talk. See, we send Nick Damon down there, and it's all sorted. It gets out again almost immediately. But Jack Gerber's had a little revolve again in that number 2 Ferrari. Yeah, just what I was saying though, that somebody like Zach Brown, first and foremost, for his JMI side of things, guys. He is a businessman. He's not going to put that reputation, that very hard-won reputation, on the line for something that he doesn't think he can deliver on.
No, the man is a real entrepreneur, and he really has a great business sense. And he's a guy that many people listen to. And when he says that sports car racing is on the rise, that's going to catch a lot of people's attention, because he has not dabbled around the edges of this. He is committed, and he has put a lot of his own money into making these teams as powerful and successful as they are. And as you said, he moves in the rarefied air. He has strong ties to the management at Daytona. He has strong ties elsewhere in the world. And with JMI, that is an entree into some pretty powerful doors.
Now, the yellow flags are waving, and we have another full course caution. The code 60 is out, and that is the reason why Jack Gerber has spun and stalled the number 2 Ferrari. This is the AF Corsa car. There is the code 60 flag being waved with gusto over the start-finish line. It will be shown everywhere at the same time. If you weren't with us earlier, is this the second time we've had one of these? It is just the second. Thank you, Paul.
Last time it was only out for 2 laps as well, so it means it's possible. There's another advantage of using code 60.
There's the
quickly.
There's the 105 car, I think, being dragged.
That's the third time I've seen it towed in.
Yeah, so that's been dragged in. The organisers taking the opportunity to pull a few more in. Jack's car is the one that I'm sure brought that out, because he's dead stick with no lights there right before the infield hair time. Third code 60?
No.
Third lap of code 60.
Yeah. When was the second?
It's the second one.
It's the
first and second were very soon after each other. Graham says, I don't think we had 2, but
I don't think so either.
Well,
there was 2 laps under the code 60.
2 laps
but
under
it was
code
2
60.
continuous laps.
Now, the number 1 Saudi Falcon may well come in here. So third tow back for the 105, not the third code 60. Sorry, we're getting our messages crossed here. Nick Damon in the pit lane. Tactics even when the race is neutralised here.
Exactly. We've seen the Saudi Falcons clear the pit for the number 1 car. It looks like they're going to take the advantage of doing a brake change. I'm not absolutely psychic, but I can see brake pads and calipers and discs. So with the code 60 neutralising the field, this means that what the normal probably 5 or 10 minute change will only cost them a couple of laps rather than the 5 laps it cost them at full racing speed. And I'm being shouted at because here comes the car. And there's the shadow gentleman that's going to sweep in the number 1 car with Edward Sandstrom in it. I'm not sure they're going to change drivers as well. I did see Jörg getting suited and booted. The car will go up on the jacks and it'll get that brake change it requires for semi-free.
Nick Damon wafting the car.
Directing traffic.
Yes, beautifully done. Waves it into the pit
this way,
just here's your space, sir. We've saved it for you. Paul.
Another pit caller is the number 25 Lamborghini, Peter Cox, which recently went a little bit too quickly, as did Ben Schneider, incidentally, a few moments ago.
Oh, yeah, 2047 for Bert.
Better be careful.
He's burning them up, isn't he?
He's used at least 4, and that's only the ones that I've seen. But the trouble is, he hasn't used them kind of wisely, in the sense when he's gone under, he's only gone a 10th or 2 under.
Yeah.
But anyway, Peter Cox, number 25, is in the pits with the Lamborghini, and this is a car that was in only on lap 208, so that's 17 laps ago, which is too short, really, but using the time, possibly, as we're seeing from the BMW, to do some work whilst everyone else is travelling slowly.
Let's have a quick update from the Saudi Falcons pits. Nick Damon.
Very much like they're adjusting the fronts, but I have been reminded, of course, they're only allowed a maximum, I think, of 4 people working on the car, even within the pit box. So it may be that they'll then switch to the back, but they haven't laid out any rear discs. And of course, the amount of wear front to rear is massively uneven. 70% of the wears that come in the front anyway. So Edward has stayed in the car. They've already managed to do the calipers. I've seen have come off already, because it's easier to replace the car with the calipers actually as a unit with the disc brakes in it, sorry, the disc pads in it, and then put on the new discs themselves. So this should be an interesting example of how fast they can do this. I just banged my head on the Saudi Falcon side and hurt myself. Everyone's laughing at me now, which is never good in the pit lane. So the first piece of damage here. But yeah, it's looking pretty good, John. I think this is a very, very clever move, and they're going to save a lot of time.
Nick Damon down there in the pit lane with the Saudi Falcons. I think it may have been laughing at Nick before. Don't like to say that. We're under our second course 60 full course caution, if you like. And as we look at that flag being thrown, the Saudi Falcon is coming out. This has been brilliant, absolutely brilliant tactics. Unbelievable stuff. There,
2 minutes and 3 minute brake pad change.
Calipers. They may not have even lost. They may not have even lost a lap there, depending on how far round the lap they've got.
That was Audi-esque.
That was unbelievable. Nick Damon, can you just confirm they did do a full brake disc and pad change and not just the pads?
Yeah, they do it in a clever way in that they take off the calipers with the pads in it. So it's basically caliper off, fast release disc off, disc on, caliper back on again. And of course, the advantage is the new stuff is all pre-ready to go and it's cold, so it's quite quick. Now, the clever thing is how they managed to do the brake bleed, because obviously they have to, when they put off the caliper, they're breaking off the actual dry lock, I suppose, for the brake fluid. So that's the impressive thing. They managed to do that and not lose it, put any air in the system.
As we go back to green flag racing, they've lost nothing at all, really. In fact, they're filling at the moment, I think, at the tank.
That's refueling as well. Of course, this is more expensive refueling because we've already gone back to green flag racing. But what we've got is a great battle for the lead because what I hadn't noticed was behind the purple flag, whilst they had the purple flag out, we had the number 3 Black Falcon Mercedes having had its pit stop and out of the pit. Sean Edwards now at the wheel, right on the tail of Max Nielsen in the Heiko Mercedes. So Mercedes first and second, but
and
Sean
that is the battle for the lead, right there.
The battle for the lead, and he is poised. I think Sean is poised to go past Max Nielsen.
Sandstrom, who was closing both of these cars down, is still at the tank. No, he's out now, and he can't be that far behind.
He's less than a minute behind, I'd say, John.
That is tactically very, very smart indeed. This is the battle for the lead, and about a minute back behind them is the BMW, as Max Nielsen in the number 6 Mercedes, the first of those two, the one with the blue on it in second place is Sean Edwards, and he's going through. There's a touch, tips the leader as they go into the infield hairpin and climb up towards the centre of the course.
Gets squeezed by the 103.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine that. Battle for the lead. Well, here is the battle for the lead. We've just finished the second Code 60 full course neutralisation for Jack Gerber's spinning Ferrari, and the 2 Mercedes at the head of the field, Max Nielsen in the 6 and Sean Edwards in the 3. That is the battle for the lead. Barely SLS's length between them, and they're picking their way through the cars that are getting back up to speed. No safety car, remember, all done on the purple flag. But what a fantastic piece of tactical manoeuvring by the Saudi Falcons. Edwin Sandstrom is back out after a brake change on the front end. Discs, pads and calipers and a refuel, and he's barely lost, I think, a minute. We'll see when he comes round. He is still in 3rd place. He's going to be a lap back on this battle, but that's all. And here's the lead battle, side by side again. Can Sean get through on the inside? He can't. He backs out of it in the number 3. The car with the red stripe down the side is in 2nd place at the moment. This is where Jack Gerber had spun just about 10 minutes ago. We are 15 hours and a quarter still to go, 11:15. Dubai time here in the Middle East. And the blue light in the car is the 2nd place car of the number 3 Black Falcon, Abu Dhabi by Black Falcon team, the leader of Heiko Motorsport. And Max Nielsen's doing a pretty good job here. 208.8 last time around. Sean Edwards is going at the same speed. He can go quicker, but he's got to get past that car in front. But what he doesn't want to do here is anything stupid. Defensive driving from Nielsen. He wants to hold on to this as long as possible, and this is great news for Sandstrom, because these guys are slowing each other up, or at least Nielsen is slowing Edwards up completely legitimately here, Jim. I'm not saying there's anything untoward here.
And Edwards is trying to force him into a mistake. He's kind of trying on the right, then trying on the left, and trying to dive underneath, and showing on the outside, all trying to see if he can disrupt Nielsen's rhythm as they...
Not into the last corner, Sean. No. Over the top of the brow. Very difficult to get your braking spot there, because you're just coming to the top of that brow and you turn in slightly late. You're really going to get hammered on the exit. Now, who's got the ponies down the straight? The two Mercedes-Benz look pretty even.
I think Nielsen got a better run. Edwards tried to pinch it in a little bit, and that cost him at the bottom of the straightaway, as Nielsen now has about a 3-car length lead.
Sandstrom waiting to see him come through the next time around. He'll have traffic to pick his way through as well. But if he's anything, well, 206 from Nielsen last time around, he's really picked up the pace. Well done him. There's Ragging
in traffic. Oh.
What a brilliant manoeuvre that was by Sean Edwards. He has finally got through, used the traffic to his advantage. In basketball, you'd call that a pick.
Yes, you would. He waited for the, we're going to get a look at it, waited for the Porsche to be in the way, and then went round the outside of both the leader, the number 6 car, and the slower Porsche, and there you have it, a new leader.
That was the Fat Auto car, the number 17, I believe, that was the unwitting participant, with Marco Zuin at the wheel of that car. He's well down the order in 54th position in 2015 class, but Sean Edwards may well be buying him a drink at the end of this, because he was instrumental in the passing over of the lead from Max Nielsen to Sean Edwards, and Sandstrom's first flying lap 206.9. So Max Nielsen now in the second. Sean Edwards leads for the Abu Dhabi by Black Forest. And Paul, that is how many different leaders?
Oh, lead changes. Hang on, I've got to go to a different spreadsheet for that. We've had 21 changes of lead amongst how many cars? 7 different cars. So 21 changes of lead, 7 different cars. Just to correct ourselves on the Edward Sandstrom BMW, the number 1 car, that's actually a lap behind.
Yeah, I did say
and a few seconds. But unfortunately for it, Bernd Schneider in the flying Mercedes is closing in on Sandstrom at the moment. Now Schneider doesn't really mind about what speed he goes. He throws as many jokers as he can. He's got an extra stack of them somewhere. Maybe because he's with all the experience that he's got, he's allowed to have more jokers, but he's going to have to be careful, is Bernd Schneider.
There's the new leader, Sean Edwards. Let's check in with another Mercedes driver. Thomas Enger is down in the pit lane with Nick Damon.
Thomas wants to know where you are, John, but Thomas, we've just seen a fantastic battle between Mercedes SLSs. Unfortunately, they're not yours, the 15 Gravity Charouz cars. What's the story of your race so far? You're down this end of the pit lane. We've not really seen very much of you.
Well, I think we are running pretty well. We're running up and down, you know. We've been in the 6th position in one stage. Now we are around P10, I believe. Car is running well. Everything is fine. We're just putting fuel and tires, changing drivers. So, you know, our target is to finish the race as best as possible. We know we can't fight the top guys at the top, the other Mercedes plus the fastest cars, but on the other hand, we are very happy so far how the team is working and how the car is working.
It seems like it's a good race car, and it's a car that appears to be well suited to this Dubai circuit.
Well, I have tested the car previously once, but as I am saying, you know, this is really nice car to drive, easy to drive. I would say for gentlemen drivers. It has brilliant ABS, brilliant traction control. The handling itself is fantastic as well. So the car is big, the car is heavy, but it handles perfectly. So yeah, it's nice to drive it here. I've done a double stint or stint and a half, 2 hours, and I was sweating just a bit. So it wasn't hard work, but I enjoyed to drive it.
Now, of course, the other SLS, a lot of them are virtually all pure professional drivers. We've got some very professional squads. I think perhaps we should have a, as we do in GTE, a pro category and a pro-am category as well.
Well, it's a quite good idea, that's for sure, yeah. I'm not really a big favorite of this 2 minute 5, 2 minute 4, 2 minute 3 lap times, adding weight, removing weight, and so on, according to the lap times which you decide to drive for the race. For example, we can drive fastest lap times 2:02, 2:03 in the race, but if we wanted to do this, we must have 75 kilos in the car would be another 10 mil higher. That's according to the rules. I would prefer to have the cars equal, and it's up to the driver to drive as fast as possible, and then maybe categorize pro-am and pro categories like we have in Blancpain series or other series, other races.
Well, Thomas, you have a lot of experience of endurance racing, so your opinion certainly counts. Thanks very much for talking to us. I think it's an interesting, this choosing how fast to go appears to be causing consternation at some, but some of them have obviously chosen right.
Therein lies the rub, isn't it?
Oh, and here's another little incident that happened a moment ago. That is the 41 car, again without its door squares. Start numbers illuminated. The organisers not too happy about that. That's the Car World Motorsport. Second place in 997 category at the moment.
And there's the first place car in 997, just getting passed by the one car. That's the 43.
Sandstrom at 2:05.5 last time around, fastest of the top runners. Sean Edwards though at 2:05.9. Now he's been sprung from behind Max Nilsson, who himself is not hanging about. He got down into the 2:06.9, still at 2:07.3 in traffic last time around. So it's Sean Edwards, Mercedes-Benz, Max Nilsson, Mercedes-Benz, Edward Sandstrom, BMW. He's a lap back from the leaders. Bernd Schneider, 37 seconds in arrears from Sandstrom in another Mercedes-Benz. And Martin Ragginger is another couple of laps further back in the first of the Porsches. Noticing anything about the nationalities of the manufacturers? Say, oh my goodness me, how hard is Sandstrom trying there as he trailed sparks over the curbs at the end of the lap, coming out of turn 15 down the hill towards 16. Paul?
There's another battle going on as well if you're bright-eyed looking out there between the Lamborghini number 25 and the number 99, a Tecto Racing Porsche. So they are circulating within a second of each other as well, battling for 6th place. That has just changed as they've come past the start-finish line. So number 99 having got ahead of Nico Pronk, and that's the car, the 25 Reiter Engineering Lamborghini that we saw Peter Cox working so hard in a little while ago to get it up into 6th place, and now Sven Hajrovski, who's at the wheel of the Attempto Racing Porsche, has managed to take that 6th place back again. So it's not just at the front, there's battles for 6th place.
Top 6 cars, all German manufacturers.
Good cars, German cars, Tom.
In fact, actually, Lamborghini's owned by Germans now. So.
Yeah, good point.
And the 20 cars under the Porsche, isn't it?
Yep.
What's the 10 car?
Porsche, 10 is a Porsche.
Yeah.
You have one non-German in the top 10.
Yeah, one non-German car, and that's owned by a German manufacturer.
The 20 car is one of those sort of fuel economy specials from Porsche. It's been doing 47 laps on a stint. Yes, John?
Nico Pronk, having just been passed for 6th, has really taken the water in, as is the car.
Wow.
Nick Damon.
It's past me, and I'm afraid it's gone straight into the garage. It was one of those wafty wave things, which I am so fond of doing, but this is obviously during green flag situations. And it's getting the old let's wobble the front wheels, which is normally the sign is tag someone. We've seen that quite a lot so far this race, as people have had little comings together on the wheel, and we've then seen them have problems. Yeah, he's showing some scrapage on the front left, so he has had some not big damage, but he's had a minor coming together. I'm assuming it's now, because obviously they're trying to fix it. and he's now reported that the car's a bit wobbly, and they are looking into the steering arms and then to make sure the thing is still lined up properly. But they now pull things out, and it looks like they're going to have an air jack, and his car, which I believe was currently in sixth, is well, actually there's quite a bit of damage on the rear of this. I'm not sure if that's the same time, John.
Another story developing, Nick, in the SP3 category. GR Motorsport, I'm afraid all the way down here at our end of the pit lane in the 54 BMW, which is, I think, the fourth pit up from pit in, sixth pit up from pit in. The black and red car, which was leading SP3, has been in the pits for 15 minutes now, so that means, Paul, that the comeback is completed for Optimum Motorsports, all the way back to the lead in SP3.
It's excellent news for that car, and as you were saying earlier on, proves that you can do comeback racing. I think the next question for that car is just how far up the overall leaderboard it's going to get before the end of the race.
1 minute 25 it's been out of the 1 hour 25 it's been out of the pits at the moment. Can't tell you who's driving those cars. We don't have driver transponders for the minor categories, much as down in the VLN and the 24 hours in the Nürburgring. Alessandro Garofano has just done the fastest lap of the number 14, that being the Porsche 997. Was a 2:06.851. I think it would be unusual if there was a Porsche doing anything other than 2:07. So I'll have a quick look there. Yes, that's a joker lap for that car. 2:07s, there tends to be the allotted time, accepted time for those cars. Another car in the pit lane that we saw going in earlier and out again, and now battling in for some time, the 30 Lamborghini, the white car, Takayuki Oki. That's been in for 15 minutes now as well, so that clearly dropping down the order. Jack Gerber has been delivered back to the pits on the red question mark on the little curtain hook, which is exactly what it looks like. And the leader, Sean Edwards, continues with a 4-second lead.
And one note, earlier we were talking in the A2 class that the Racing Divas were fighting for a podium position. They've now just spent 22 minutes in the pits, and they are currently working on that car. So fans of Divas, unfortunately, they're struggling a little bit at this point. They've dropped to 6th in the A2 class.
The leading car, Jerome Blakemolen, has just tweeted that they can drive 17 minutes longer with the fuel that they've got in the car in P2. So he feels things look great. Sean Edwards against Max Nielsen. I have to say at the moment, I think that they're more pressing competition, certainly in the next hour or so, Paul, will come from the numbers 1 BMW and 16 Mercedes, respectively, of Edward Strandstrom and Bernd Schneider. Although they are laps down at the moment, they are certainly Sandstrom has the least time of any of those guys since he last left the pits, of course, with that full tank of fuel and the new brakes.
Yeah, I think Jeroen might be stretching the truth a little bit, and people tweet for certain reasons, don't they? Let me just explain my comment.
Surely you
No, let me just explain my comment, because Blakemolen on his last stint did 37 laps, whereas the number 6 car, the Mercedes of the Heiko team, did 39 laps. So on that last stint, it was actually the Heiko car which did more laps. However, what Jeroen is referring to is on the previous 2 stints, they were doing 41 laps on each, whereas the number 6 car only did 37 laps. So, you know, there were 2 stints from the Jeroen Blakemolen car that were longer, and they were longer than the last stint. But it's interesting that he chose that moment to tweet when it was actually a shorter stint from his car.
25 of Nico Plump is back out again. Remember, he was having a bit of a battle with Sven Kowalski, and came straight back in the pit lane. Nick Dermott
it came in, as we saw, they fiddled with the front. In the end, they seemed to be more concerned, I think, with the part of the steering rack. I'm guessing it's an electrical steering rack system. But when he came out, it seemed like he couldn't select a gear, and we thought, it's hydraulics, that's the issue. But what actually happened, he stopped, because during all the faffing about to actually fix it, the hopping about mechanics, someone had bashed his door mirror, so he couldn't see behind himself anymore, which is very conscientious, but not very racing driver-like.
Team with Aston, and that car's been in the wars, as you saw. We're still watching the classes as well, of course, as Sean continues to circulate, coming up in the final corner with traffic ahead of him. That's a very dangerous manoeuvre, but he pulls it off, gets down the inside, which means he's not moving onto the front straight.
Did you mention that the Lamborghini of Nico Kronk came into the pits following that contact?
Just been talking about it. Yes, it is. He had a gear selection problem and somebody had knocked off his door mirror.
Oh, that's Kronk, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hadn't realised that was Kronk.
Yeah.
Good.
The Optimum Motorsports Ginetta, that is, isn't it? The 116 car continues to lead SP3. The GT3 Racing Viper with a slightly reduced lead in SP2, but still with laps in hand, now down to just 5 laps ahead of his competition, whereas Optimum are let's see, 2:15 to 2:08. They're 7 laps ahead of the Racer Industries Australia. That's the Astra Coupe here.
And the report from dailysportscar.com, John, is that the 101 is in a bit of trouble and may, in fact, be on the hook out on the racetrack. So, not sure.
I can see various flashing lights on the far side. I think they're outside the circuit. So, let's have... there is definitely somebody stopped near the track. No, he's out the circuit as well. The only disadvantage to this circuit here at Dubai is that the perimeter road runs very, very close at some spots to the actual racing circuit. And the organisers obviously are still running various shuttle vehicles. And in comes the second place car in SP2. This is the Holden Australia car, the Racer Industry SP3, excuse me, thank you, Jim. This is the Holden Astra Coupe. James Came on the driving strength listed on the roof bar of that car. There was did I see a Lambo coming back in there? Was that the 30 car again, Takayuki Aogi? No, he still hasn't come out again. So that must have been Jean-Marc Merlin who came in. And there is the tow truck, again taking that cutout. We should be getting used to this by now. And that is the 101. That is a fine spot by the guys at Daily Sports Car. In behind the pickup truck, coming into the pit lane right now is the Viper that leads the that is the GT3 racing team, the SP2 leader.
That's caught me out about 4 times.
GT3 SP2 101. 212 laps. There is the visual confirmation. And no, that Viper needs to get on his brakes, otherwise he's gonna. That's not the way to tow. Keep the tow strap. Always ride the brake. Keep the tow strap taut, is what I was told.
You were taught right.
Are those slightly downhill?
Don't wrap it around your hand either. If you're an
never, ever, ever do that. It always looks so cool. Nick Damon, you're about to have the GT3 Racing Viper right with you, and I have no clue as to what that was. It was in the early part of the lap. It was recovered and dragged across the infield and into the pit lane. It's a very clever thing that they do when they do it. Nick, down here in the pits.
Yeah, the car's just come past me, silently cruising, but no sign of any actual problems. It's got electricity, but it's got lights. Also on the number 54 you sent me up to look at, that car is having some front of the car surgery. Looks like it's got an oil rad issue, or one of the sub-rads. They've managed to get the car back off the jacks now. They are doing some quite distracting after 25 minutes in the pits. Yeah, actually this is a steering rack issue by the looks of it. So after leading the class, and this of course is his new class because it was bumped up this morning, it's now fall down to fourth in SP3. We do know it's got the pace, and of course the thing we keep forgetting is there's still 15 hours to go. So all they need to do actually is get the series sorted out. They've got the valance off the front of this old beauty. They're having a bit of a route around. Unfortunately, the car's gone back on the jacks again, so it wasn't quite as fixed as they'd hoped it was going to be. But there is 15 hours or so still to go, so anything can happen in any of the classes. And even though they're losing another lap, they still have plenty of chance to be victorious in their class in the Dubai 24 hours.
Damon in the pit lane there, and that GR Motorsport car's dropped down to fourth. It's going to lose another position to the GC Automobile 106 car. That's the V6 3.5 litre car. That looks vaguely like a VW Scirocco, another one of those tube-filled GC cars. Optimum Motorsport still leading that class after their drive back. Second was the Racer Industry Australia car, but they're in the pits with their Astra. So the Black Falcon has gone through the 23, that very, very pretty BMW that we've talked about a lot. And how many times have we said, and in fact, did Graham Goodwin not say these very words, they pick cars that perhaps don't look very flash, no big accoutrements to them. We've seen them do this at the Nürburgring as well. And Jim, they just do their job and do it well.
They just keep trucking. They are very clean. And again, endurance racing, a team that reacts best to their mistakes or problems, or the team that has the fewest problems. 99.9% of the time going to win the race. The Black Falcon guys are very professional. As you said, they pick the right equipment, get the right mix of drivers, and they're very competitive, very successful in this form of racing. And it should be noted also that Sean Edwards has been making hay while we've been talking about some of the other classes. Last time through, he'd built his lead up to almost 20 seconds. It was just a scant over 17 seconds. So we'll see how it is when he comes through this time and see if, in fact, he is increasing his lead as he has been bit by bit as he's gone now up to 22 seconds. So full 4 seconds better than Max Nielsen on that last lap. And it looks like Edward Sandstrom may be in a position where he's closing in enough on Nielsen that he may, and we have a spinner, that's the
Optimum Motorsport.
The 116, that's the Optimum Motorsport leader in the SP3 class.
Actually, I may have given you a bump steer there. It's 118, my apologies. It's the Ranco, the Nova Racer Ranchio car that comes back. It's another one of the Ginettas.
I do it all the time on TV.
Just a moment ago, this is what happened. Look in the left-hand side of the picture, the Ranchio Nova race car, 6th position in SP3, just lighting it up after the infield hairpin. Now, in the box at the moment, what is the formerly second place car in SP3? This is Racer Industries Australia. Nick Damon is down in the pits with a familiar face to anyone who's followed British touring car racing.
A very familiar face to all us British race fans, James Kay. But you're normally used to being involved in 20-minute crash fest, not 24-hour endurance races.
Yeah, but I'm getting old now. I've got a family to support.
How is the Holden going? I mean, there's a slight problem at the moment. Is that a short-term issue?
Yeah. I've just blown a turbo hose off. The car's built and prepared in Australia, in Brisbane, and the guys are all involved in V8 racing out there. They just come across here. They've been to Silverstone, Barcelona. They just, they come across to enjoy it.
And you just got up to second in class, and luckily there's 15 hours to make those places back up again.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, really. We shouldn't really be in this class. We were in the class with the Seat, the A3T, but they moved us to SP3. So we're really, we're way outclassed, by things like the Aston Martin or the Lotus Evora.
but the car's very good.
James, thanks very much. I believe, John, we got an instant on track now.
You're spot on, Nick. It's the 118 again, coming through turn number 1. He's lost it again, and this time he's got some damage. Now, was he touched this time, or is this the problem that he was having earlier? It's the right rear. Well, it's just broken there on him, if it hadn't done before, Jim, but that looked a very scary moment. And now he's going to go across the track, take the cutout, and try to get the car back to the pits lane.
He was the original incident. There was contact, and I think it just took that long for the A-arm or something to let go, and so he's now trying to limp his way back, as we see in a live picture here now of him going through the cutout, and he's now gone behind the backhoe and the fencing, so you can't see him.
Now, that's very bad news for them. They had got back up into contention. The Nova Race cars are orange, the Arancchio and Blanco, the white one, of course, the two team cars, and he's going to have a bit of difficulty getting that Ginetta back with the way that back wheel was doing a bit of steering. Now, earlier on we sent Nick down to have a look at the number 54 BMW, the GR Motorsport car. It was in a bit of strife when we saw it last. Nick?
And now it's a healthy BMW from 1997, I think. I think I had one of those, actually. Yeah, that's now all fixed, it seems. He's sped out the pit lane. He's got a lot of confidence in the car, that's for sure. The speed he left the garage. And he's now, is he going to go get some fuel down the local Tesco's? No, he's carrying, it's hard to tell. He's stuck behind, I think that's the Holden have come out. And he turns in half an hour, and he does need some fuel as well. So he's now getting a bit of super green, but he is back in the race, and he will be hunting down the other members of his class, because that is the class of the class when it's got itself a bit of free running.
And the 63 Holden Australia Racer Industries, James Kay's car is also out in the tank, and on the infield hairpin, having taken the cutout, we have got, and that should be the Ginetta, the 118. Yes, it is. He must have given himself a heck of a shot when he accelerated in the back end, stepped out the way. He's being somewhat more circumspect now. We'll get a shot of him in a moment, I'm sure, as he heads into the pit lane. The Jack Gerber number 2 Ferrari still hasn't appeared, and the odd thing about that was it never showed in the pits either, did it, when it came in the back. The GT3.
Yeah, they may have taken it right to the back.
Yeah, absolutely. Now at the head of the field, Edward Sandstrom. Jim pointed this out a moment ago. I think he's right behind Max Nielsen trying to get his lap back. And if that's the case, we need to keep our eyes peeled for that. They've gone through to start another lap. Sven Harowski was doing hard work in the 99 Porsche, but he's just pulled into the pit lane from 6th position. Remember, we've still got over 14 hours, almost 14 hours, 50 minutes to go here. And plenty of action going on down the field as well, as we welcome back to our booth, this time on Motors TV as well. Archie Hamilton, hello.
Hello.
You've still got board shorts on, which doesn't bode well.
Well, I'm just trying to chill out. I think it's best to look nice and relaxed, do you reckon?
Very relaxed, but that clearly means that no sign of the, as in comes the Ginetta with the broken rear suspension. We did see an orange Ginetta looking rather like this earlier, and that fought back to take the lead just a few moments ago. The Optimum Motorsport car, that car's in the pits as well now, but that is rather more routine. Actually, you still haven't been in this car then, have you not, in race conditions?
Well, I've just been in the car for 2 hours, so...
have you?
Yeah, I
can't possibly have been. You look far too fresh.
Well, I wasn't when I got out. I think I was... I'm feeling a little bit better now, but I'll tell you what, it is seriously hot out there. And I can, well, I don't know how Fabian you are and Fred Classier are going to be able to do it on their road, because I was thinking, how the hell can you do this? Because it was so hot. towards the end of my stint, I was just thinking, please get me in, because this is getting hot.
It was a gearbox problem that put the car into the garage for quite a long time. Are we confident that that's been sorted now, given that you've just done 2 hours in the car? How was it?
Yeah, it was really good. The car, it feels amazing. I've managed to do a 2:05 in it on like my third lap, so I mean the car's back to its full pace, but as obviously as the cars go off it, the times drop off dramatically. But yeah, I'm confident. The problem was, the first problem was the clutch. I don't know why, but the clutch was completely burnt out. And the second problem was just the sensor on the gearbox. It put us up 4 hours, so let's hope we can get to the end now.
Well, the thing now is you've just got to set little targets for yourself. Get on to the next page of scoring. Get to midnight. Get to the next page of scoring. Get the daylight. Get the 2 hours. You know, it's all those little things that we've seen people do it down the years at Le Mans. How's the atmosphere in the team? Because something like that clearly could knock the stuffing out of everybody. But you've bounded up here full of joy and energy by the look of it. Getting the car back out must have been a real big boost.
Well, it was. I mean, you see the car in the garage for 4 hours, and you start thinking, well, should we just retire it? I mean, we're so far behind. I mean, 130 laps down. But I mean, the boys were their socks off. And we managed to get it out, and the main thing is it's still going around now. Yeah. But yeah, obviously we're very far behind. We're probably on the last page of the timing screens, but I mean, Stewart's just about getting the car, and we've just got to set ourselves, as you say, little targets and move forward.
There's still a surprising amount of cars out there. We've been seeing how few, certainly up until relatively recently, how few cars are still going around there. The attrition rate hasn't been massive, and there's your car in the tank at the moment, just getting its refill. You've got a few people that you'll go past there relatively quickly. I mean, what's it like out there on the circuit with the traffic?
That's the hardest part. You will never get a clear lap out there, and it's just whether the slower cars see you. I mean, you've got a flash button on the wheel, but it's very difficult because there's so many cars, and even the GT3 Cup cars are so fast. It's very difficult to get past, especially through the first section. You've just got to be very patient with it.
I mean, going offline can't be easy here, because I saw from the shots in daylight, which is a long time ago, the amount of marbles offline was pretty impressive then. And now, it must feel like you've got a flat if you get off and get picked up on that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, especially through the first section.
I mean, look at that there. That's a perfect example.
That's exactly it.
Go down into the last corner.
Especially around the outside of the last corner, you just can't do it. In the first section, about turn 3, if you go offline, you shoot straight off the circuit. You even see people out there that are just absolutely knackered. Bagman came out the pits and just went straight on. And I thought, well, you must be pretty tired. I mean, if you get the marbles on, it takes us a lap to get it off. It's really difficult. So you've just got to stay off them and just be patient and wait to make them move, really.
Now, that is the leader, I think, in no, he's still in the pit lane, so that's one of the Ginettas that the leader is going by. Talking about the tyres, what choice do you have on tyres? It's two compounds of slicks, is it?
Yeah, basically, we're just running the soft tyre, but you can run a super soft tyre as well. But, I mean, the tyres really go off quite a lot during a stint. I mean, I was doing 205s at the start, and at the end I could do 207, but really difficult.
And did you leave them on for the full 2 hours?
Yes,
so you put them on, did a fuel stop, and left them on, and then carried on?
Yeah, exactly. We just tried to double stick the tyres to see how the performance was. The performance was okay, and running 2 seconds lap at the end was all right.
Now, this is an interesting battle on the screen, because this is Sandstrom trying to get his lap back from Nielsen in second place, and Max Nielsen's been putting in some great laps. He did a 2:05, an early 2:05 last time around, the fastest for that car, 2:05.023, 2:09 last time around in traffic, and Sandstrom he's in third position in the second of those two cars, the number one, and that is the second place car, but he is 3.5 miles ahead. He's a full lap ahead of this, but this is a crucial moment for Ed Sandstrom in the Schubert by Sally Folders. You can see the flashing lights there, and I'm sure Max Nielsen is absolutely delighted about that, given that he's in second position at the moment. And Sandstrom's been on a mission. Traffic may help him here. The Mercedes flashes its lights, the BMW flashes its lights. Pick a line, stick to it, get around it. It's like a video game out there.
There might have been a little touch between the 123 and the 6 car.
Oh, and there it looks like he's gone wide, and he's going to come back on him. You can't do that. That is a really silly thing to do from both of them. Max Nielsen went wide. Sandstrom got position on him on the inside. Wasn't quite alongside, but really that wasn't bright driving from either of them. And it just goes to prove what can happen in traffic. Archie Hamilton watching us there at the moment. That's just the sort of thing that he's got his head in his hands at the moment. But that's the sort of thing that can happen. I don't think you can really blame any driver for that. They were both doing their own thing, but it wasn't particularly bright or high average from either of them, was it?
No, it's definitely not. I mean, Sandstrom had a look, and it was just it's so difficult to overtake there. You just can't overtake there.
That's that uphill left-hander, isn't it?
Yeah, it's uphill left-hander, but it's just it looks so wide when you approach it. You just want to stick your nose in, and then you just close the door right on it.
Are you putting your money on these two coming together in the next 2 laps?
Well, it's looking that way, but I'm
He's got it.
He's got it.
Get their wits about.
There you go.
I think the 6 car just said, you want it that bad, go ahead, you can have it. Because Sandstrom has been much quicker each lap in that first sector. And so he used that this time. And Nielsen rightly just said, go.
May have been a word from the team as well at that point. 2:05.065 for Bernd Schneider, who's only another half a minute back down the road. So he'll be coming up on Nielsen shortly as well. That's the fastest lap from Bernd, who's putting in some great times.
That's another joker.
Is it a 2:05? I thought he was on a 2:05 strategy, was he not?
Well, it's the fastest lap for the car. So.
Oh, so he must have, yes, it must be. You're absolutely right. My bad. He's on 2:05
even.
2:05 even. So
no, that's not a joker.
Okay, so that's okay for him.
They must have reset.
So when you next back in the car, Archie?
I'll be back in the car, I think, in about 4 hours' time. I think Stuart's going to do a double stint, and then Mike Wainwright will do a double stint.
Stuart's doing right, a 2-hour stint.
Yeah, a double stint.
Right.
We'll be putting a double stint, 2 hours, do 1 hour, then come in for fuel, and then do another hour. He'll probably complain after an hour, want some tyres like I did.
He's going to be told, don't bother, make it work.
Well, I will do. I was thinking that he just didn't want me to have some tyres, but leave me out there to be mean. But yeah, I was demanding tyres. They weren't giving out any of it.
You don't get that as a driver, I'm afraid. You get told what you're going to have. Do you get a rest between now and then? Is there somewhere you can go and have a lie down, or do you just sit and watch the race somewhere?
I find it very difficult in any 24-hour race to sleep, because you just want to know what's going on, even though we're very low down. With the adrenaline and everything, and you know you're going to be in the car in a few hours, it's very difficult to sleep. So I'm just going to have a lie down, and by the end of the weekend you get bored looking at timing screens. So maybe I'm just going to have a lie down somewhere.
Good luck, mate. We'll see you a bit later on. Here is the replay of the manoeuvre. As you can see, the 120 car involved there, and this is the there was definitely a touch there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
That was right front to left rear, and
good job that they didn't take each other out.
Remember, this is not a battle for position. That was a battle to get the lap back, and so Edward Sandstrom now is back on the same lap as Max Nielsen, albeit almost a lap down. So he's got about 20 seconds to Sean Edwards at the front of the field to get his lap back completely. Graham Goodwin has rejoined us from dailysportscar.com. This has been a brilliant drive by Sandstrom, but the guys at Schubert have done a great job. Tommy Milner, who drove with these guys last year, tweeting that nobody turns around a car quicker or understands tactics quicker, and doing that brake change and part of the refuel under code 60, genius.
And Thorsten Schubert was a key part of the team actually before brake change, so the team owner actually getting stuck in on that job. And I'll tell you something, where Sandstrom thought it was tough getting past, you ain't seen nothing yet from 11 lap Sean Edwards in what might not be that long time. Not quite sure how long we've got before those cars are actually due into the pits, and you know, we'll let Paul dial himself back in before we get that answer.
The reason I just went for a walk is because I wanted to go watch some racing cars, because you get a good view from the grandstand. I reckon the first of them will be coming in at around about 11:35, so give us another 10 or 12 minutes, and then that'll be coming in. It'll be the number 6 car, the second place car, Max Nielsen in the Heiko Motorsport car. So I reckon that will be the first of the group. the amazing thing is it will be about a 10 or 15 minute period when all of the top 5 cars will come in and make their pit stops. The one that I exclude is the 6th place car, which is the very frugal Porsche, number 20, which will not be coming in until about another half an hour yet. So it'll be about 5 to midnight before the number 20 car comes in. And that's only done 5 pit stops altogether compared to the 7 of the BMW.
They think they can go something like 17 minutes longer.
Yeah,
Well,
we've debunked that already.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is I've talked about it on air already, so I'll show you on the screen in a second.
Tell me later.
No, it's all right. You can do it again. Do it
again. What happened was that Blake Moran is referring to 2 previous stints where he did 41 laps on the stint, which compared to the what was he comparing it to? The number 6 car, wasn't he? Comparing it to the 37 laps, which so 4 laps of difference, 16 minutes, fair enough. However, on the stint upon which he tweeted that, his car did 37 laps, and the number 6 car, which was what he was comparing it to, did 39. So I suspect it was there was truth in it, and he couldn't do it, but he just chose to tweet it at the moment after the car had done 2 laps less on the stint.
Got it. Okay. So it's rather closer than they're actually giving it credit for.
Well, if the tweet was he can go, yes, then it was perfectly accurate. Fair enough. They chose not to on that particular stint. John.
Hello to Ashley Finch, who missed the first hour of the race during, do you know, maths exam?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know a lot of this going on, John, I'll tell you.
I don't. He has been listening to us on Radio Le Mans throughout the lessons today, so he's up to speed with everything that's been going. Johannes Guaglica, not happy. Seriously, no excuse, he says, due to a maths exam. Completely unacceptable, which is quite good. Although it has been pointed out by Rob Fitzgerald that listening to Paul Trustwell is offered like a maths exam.
That reminds me, actually, my daughter had a citizenship exam today, and I was meant to wish her luck. But it'll have happened by now, won't it? Yes, it will. I hope it went well.
I'm sure it will have.
She's very good on citizenship. What is citizenship? They didn't do citizenship when I was
If it doesn't have an ology at the end of it, it's not a real exam. Don't forget that.
That's not a philosophy, John.
And there's the 23 Black Falcon car, now up to 2nd place in the SP3 category. I took your name in vain just a short while ago, Mr. Goodwin, when that car took 2nd position. It's in and out. It will have just about held on to that 2nd position. Optimum Motorsport are back to the head of that grid in a tremendous comeback drive in SP3. Nick Tierman is down in the Black Falcon pit.
Well, walked up here, thought, oh, a Black Falcon pit stop. But actually, it's the BMW Saloon, which is 2nd, as you say, in SP3 and Steve Jans. It's a big battle in SP3, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really hot for the moment. We was on 7th position for 3 hours, and now we are on 2nd position, so it's a really great fight now, yeah.
Is the secret just keep on churning out the laps? Is it just hit your time and let everyone else fall by the wayside?
Yeah, you have to pay really attention, because we have many oversteering of our car. We have to wait, so if not, our tires are getting so warm that we have directly oversteering. So it's really to make attention now and yeah, just race.
So the car is obviously, therefore, if it's got overheated tyres, it must be better during the night when it's cooler.
Yeah, but it was now the 2nd stint on these tyres, and yeah, at the end it was really hard. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question about your outfit? Just wondering what this is. I haven't seen anyone else. It's like the thing that you only have a 2-year-old and you want to say you don't lose them in the shopping centre. You kind of carry them like that. What's it actually for? So
it is when we have an accident that our hand can't move out of the car.
That's a good safety thing. Thanks, Steve, talking to us now. An SP3 battle that's hotting up and showing you can come back from being a long way behind.
Yeah, no arguments from any of us on that. The gap between Edwards and Sandstrom, I think at the moment, is something around under 15 seconds as it's definitely coming down, Graham, as they're going through and past us here.
What I've seen the last 2 laps is that 2 seconds or more on Sean Edwards the previous lap of this one, and almost 2 seconds this time. So I think you're right, that gap is closer to 15 seconds than 20 now. Meantime, I suspect I've seen that Black Falcon BMW leave the pits. I suspect there is actually a major hubbub down at Black Falcon, because I did notice that Black Falcon machine was scuffed.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's not acceptable. We don't allow that at Black Falcon. So there will be a team meeting at the moment, and someone will have to do the honourable thing.
We'll expect to see someone out of the back of the paddock at some stage, just doing what needs to be done.
There'll be a pistol, the one shot.
Yeah, understood. They are
about 14 seconds.
14 seconds, says Jim Roller, with the stopwatch between Ed Sandstrom and Sean Edwards, and that is a battle we need to watch, because that could get very, very interesting very quickly.
And all of a sudden, Max Nielsen's got to hurry up, because he's just put in the fastest lap time for that car, the second place car, the one that Sandstrom's just picking that back from, 2:05.015.
Well, there's a good reason for that, because he's got Bernd Schneider bearing down on him now as well.
That's right, and Bernd will not be very far away from actually unlapping himself. So all of a sudden, Max Nielsen's got a very busy time on his hands. He's not only trying to keep the leader, in his sights, but also trying to keep Bernd Schneider at bay.
Note on the screen that car number 123 is smoking from the rear. That's the Saka. It's a diesel. So
it's a Saka.
It's not at the best of races, that car. Sean Edwards then still leads. That's the Mercedes-Benz at the head of the field on his 255th lap. And Ed Sandstrom is trying to close down and get the number 1 Saudi Falcons by Schubert. BMW said, oh no, that is really smoking from the back. That's not just diesel smoke, that's either transmission fluid. They've had a lot of transmission problems in that car. My bet is that is transmission fluid rather than anything from the engine. It's not black and diesel. Oh, it's all over the place. It's all over his back wheels. He's laying down a real thick line. He's got to get that car off the racing line and in the pits. How can he not know what's going on? He must be able to see that. That's going to cause carnage if we're not careful coming through the last corner, and that's a fast turn there. And that's not smart. That's going to be a black flag this time around, I'm absolutely certain. That is not, it's a diesel engine. That is not coming from the diesel engine unless it's water, but it looks far more viscous than that to me.
Well, John, he should have felt that, but he won't be able to see it, of course. He won't be able to see it.
He's got to have felt that. He's off the track now at turn 2. And he's going to struggle back right across the racing line as they go into one of the fastest turns on the circuit at turn 3.
His team could certainly radio him.
Now he's got somebody behind him flashing him like mad. It's the leader. It's Sean Edwards going through, and he's, I think, off the circuit again there as Sean Edwards came through. And the blue light, is that Sean? It is. No, it's not. It's Sandstrom. It's Sandstrom. Well, amazing stuff. There's no light on the main straight, but it smells like oil is what we hear from the pit lane. As Ed Sandstrom continues to try and get back on the lead lap in the Saudi Falcons car. He's closing in on Sean Edwards. It's now down to around about 10 seconds before we get this battle at the head of the field. Well, that is a remarkable incident there for Sandstrom. He must have really wondered what was going on. You could see his headlights flashing in that vapour ahead of him.
Well, we've got a bizarre four-way back at the moment. Bizarre because exactly they're not all on the same lap. We've got Nielsen closing in on Edwards. We've got Sandstrom closing in on Edwards to unlap himself. And at times we've got Schneider closing in on both Nielsen and Sandstrom.
I'm following this.
We're going to have a four-car battle with two cars on, on a different lap. I would have thought, John, in the next 3 or 4 laps.
And Paul, when are they all due into the pits? Because Max Nielsen's been out of the pits for an hour and 15. Schneider's been out for an hour and 1:14. Sandstrom's actually been on the track the least time since he came out of the pits with the new calipers and brakes on.
Yeah, it'll be Schneider who comes in first, I reckon. Not least because he uses a bit more fuel than does Nielsen. But Schneider should come in the lap before Nielsen, but of course he's done a lap less anyway. So, as I say, I'm putting them in on around about lap 2:58. So another 4 laps, another 5-10 minutes, something like that. And we'll have, as I say, I think Schneider will be the first one in. It'll be interesting to see exactly how quick they are in the pits and what pit work actually gets done. Just going back to the difference in the stint time, the way number 3, the Sean Edwards car, when it first took the lead, it held the lead for just 2 laps. Then the next stint that it took the lead for, it held it for 5 laps. The time after that, it held it for 10 laps. You see the pattern forming. But then it had the shorter stint, and it only held it for 8 laps on the following stint. So it's been in the lead this time already for 12 laps. So the length of time that the number 3 is spending in the lead is increasing on every stint, which is a very useful thing for it to do.
Paul Trustwell bringing us up to date with the tactics. We'll rejoin our Motors TV audience in just a second. You're listening to RadioLeMans.com around the world and on 87.6 FM here at the track. We're into a very, very interesting time here with still 14 and a half hours or thereabouts to go. We're on lap 257. Ed Sandstrom in the number 1 BMW, defending champion Schubert, this time with Saudi Faulkins, closing down inexorably on Sean Edwards, who leads in the Mercedes-Benz. Max Nielsen still in second, but is now behind Sandstrom. Sandstrom having unlapped himself as into the pit lane was one of the BMWs.
Yellow flags out there, John.
There are yellow flags out there. And
that must be the Seika.
And that's got to be the Seika.
He's slowing down. And he's offline. He's coming into the pits. And he's actually staying off pit lane.
It's taken 2 laps though, and look at the nonsense that he's left there. I'm really surprised we haven't seen more people struggling on the oil. This car with the turbo diesel engine is, well, he's staying off it now, and there's a trace of fluid behind it. It was much worse than that a wee while ago.
In fairness, John, it's probably got nothing left.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be surprised if that was engine oil. That didn't look like engine oil to me. I think that's gearbox. I stand to be correct with Mike with the amount of rubbish that's coming out of the air intake. They had a lot of gearbox selection problems with that earlier on. And those guys have said, what? You've gone round for 2 laps with it, Lee, and you couldn't have driven it in the pits. We've got to push it. Thanks, mate. You can see there is a bit of something dribbling out the back of it. It is a pretty car, that, I have to say. I like it. It's one of the specials, one of the 24-hour specials. Gary Williams, one of the leading lights of preventing there, was on the telephone as it went by.
There is a one-make championship for those things.
Really? They don't use Subaru turbo engines,
really?
do they?
Yeah, they do.
In the Netherlands?
It's not dramatically well supported. I think about half a dozen runners. I'm sure some of the correct someone on that one. It's unsurprisingly going to the pits and will require Kitty Litter to follow it. Huge kind of fluid trail actually followed it in there.
Nick. Oh dear, no. Are you sure it's not? Are you sure it's not gearbox oil? Okay.
Yeah, they've managed to, I think, lost the head gasket by the looks of it, with a huge amount of steam. It's quite spectacular, actually. It's still steaming away. It smells like smells like a bad filling station, actually. There's some diesel involved as well, so I think the diesel and the water getting together makes me think that they've got a problem in the combustion side of the engine, which may well end up being thermal. I think you're actually looking at it now, and it's a fabulous fire. Any Cub Scout would be proud about starting that, I can tell you. It's fiddling about, and they've obviously had a huge number of problems with every other part of the car, but this appears to be very definitely a oil and water. I think oil may actually be dirt and a bit of diesel that's got through there. We can explain the smell, which is kind of like, you know how it feels when you've spilt diesel at a petrol station and it's been in your hands for about an hour and you suddenly catch the smell again? It's exactly that smell.
And you as a diesel driver would know that, would you?
And a cack-handed fuel filling, yes, exactly.
Thank you, Nick.
My greatest fear there is that he was going to reprise the great Buddy Baker line. Smells like a rear end.
Ah, yes. Not the gearbox then. The battles in the other classes continues. We've still got the top 13 being A6, the top class here. Force Racing in the 997 on 240 laps leads the 997 class, now 8 laps ahead of Carwell Motorsport. The 41 car in 19th position has had its problems in SP3. Optimum Motorsport complete the most amazing comeback. Remember, earlier on in our coverage, it was a rear suspension problem that brought that car sideways into the pit lane, and a lot of rear wheel steering as they try to turn into it. And that car is now leading that SP3 class on 230 laps ahead of the Black Fulton team, the BMW, which we saw in out the pits, the 23 car on 223. So 7 laps of difference there. One more lap between Black Fulton and the 106 in third. This is the GC automobile, one of the tube frame cars from GC, clever design. They're in third with the 106 is the V6 car, which looks rather like a VW Scirocco. There's the 122 just going out the baby blue BMW. Put your lights on. Put your lights on. And he is down in 43rd position at the moment, 8th in that SP3 class. Now in SP2, the Las Moras Racing team lead, and they've just been in and out. In fact, no, they're just going out of the pits now in the Renault Megane Trophy.
This is the class of the rising phoenix.
Oh.
Because they've had trouble and have come back to the lead. The 110, the Corvette, which is in second position, has had trouble and penalties.
Yes, that's right.
And now they're in second position.
Right.
And the GT Racing, who's had
the Viper,
has had multiple problems, is still out there running in third.
And I've just noticed as well, third place in 997 class, Besseplace Racing team. Yep. We had those guys written off, and they were on the third page of the timing recently. Well, not recently, some time ago. Now in 31st position, as we hear from the pit lane that it would appear that Max Nielsen, Paul, will be the first of the top 4 to come into the pit lane. The 16 getting ready. Sean Edwards goes through. Now, where is Ed Sandstrom? Looking down beneath us. There he goes. Wow, that was maybe
14 seconds.
Maybe that was half a dozen seconds, if that.
This is Nielsen.
And Nielsen is in the pit lane, is he, Graham?
He is in the pit lane.
Thank you very much indeed. Nick Damon has fantastically good information from the team. And Max Nielsen in the second place, Mercedes-Benz, trundles in along pit lane to be followed by the Gamer Nissan. But the cameras rightly await the second place car, and Nick Damon is there too.
About a yard apart where he should have been. Out comes Max Nielsen, a bit of a squeeze even with those fabulous gull-wing doors. Slow change on the front left. I think they would say, let's have a look and change. Remember, these guys haven't had the benefit of a free disc change that number 1 car managed. And now they are still quite a slow design change of the 4 wheels. Not the lightning fast we have seen, in fairness. As they buckle up Max into the car, keeping everything quite calm. The slowest point again is the driver. They're now just about to put the restraint, the fencing in, close the door, off they go. I expect he'll reached the end of turn right, and I will obviously try and grab a word with the young Max, as he is just taking off his hat. He's quite warm. I will pull him out, don't worry. And yes, but young Max is just coming out. I need to go find the camera, because I'm sure he wants to get his face done. Here we are, and we've improved the quality of the picture, and it's Max Nielsen. Max, that was a pretty impressive stint coming out of there in second.
Yeah, it was very difficult. I had a big vibration on the front tires. I had a huge understeering, but I brought it back without damage. So.
Was that due to a problem with a set of tyres or pickup during the course of the run?
I don't know. First I thought it was pickup, but I got it in the beginning of the stint, but it never came off.
So that's something you don't want. Did that make it more difficult to hit the lap times, to overtake people in the difficult conditions?
Yeah, it's quite difficult. It's in the dark. There's so much traffic.
Well, as we see behind us, the 16 team now is getting ready to come in. I mean, it's a good battle between the German cars. 3 of the Mercedes, 1 BMW.
Yeah, I think it's quite good battle. It's nice.
Did the crew say to you, let the 1 BMW through, or was that a decision you made yourself because you didn't want to cause any problems?
Yeah, I let him pass because I had too much vibration on front. I could not I could not keep him behind, so it was too risky to fight with him.
That's very wise driving and the right idea for a 24-hour race. Well done, Max. Now, we've just seen the 16 car hits its marks now. I think Bert Schneider will be getting out. A lot of that shouting was because officially they're supposed to change their tabars to say 16. And they're saying 6, because you do have a tabard. I don't think he'll get caught for that one. Schneider waving his arms like he's confused about something, shaking his head, not quite sure what the problem is as the car comes in from 4th place. I think it's Alan Simonsen who's got in. I will try and go word with Bern. He didn't take off his hat, but this car again, it's a much quicker stop. Noticeably quicker stop than the last one. He's gone too fast. Gone too fast. The wheel's not on. The left wheel's not on. They're stopping. He has not got it. It's way up. That's why it's noticeably quicker, because they did 3 wheels. Luckily, that was a major disaster averted by a good bit of waving. Let me see if I can just have a quick word with Bern. Bern, you came out of the car there and you were shaking your head. What was the problem?
We prepared a lollipop with light, but there was not there. And it's very difficult at night to see where's your pit, because everybody is using this yellow shirt and they look all the same. And he said, yeah, we are here. I said, yeah, but I can't see you.
How was that second stint for you? I mean, it was very different conditions when you went out earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, but I enjoyed. It was now the second stint in this car, and I did 1 stint already in car number 6. And I enjoyed driving. I hope there's some more coming.
So you've got a good chance of getting a podium because you're currently 2nd and 4th with your 2 cars.
Yeah, looks good, but it's still a long time to go.
Thank you very much. Well, I think that's the definition of an action-packed couple of minutes in one pit stall, John.
Yes. A disaster certainly averted there by some very quick work by the guy in the left rear wheel. That was dropped way too... Oh, spinner. The number 1 car's just got by a car facing the wrong direction. Now, if I can work out where that is out in the darkness, I'll have a bit of a scan for it. I think it was on one of the infield hairpins.
It was turn 7. It was the sweeper over here.
Right. Oh, there he is. Right, that is... It's facing the right direction. I think it's a Porsche. He's got his hazard flashes on. He's just on the turn into that big left-handed run onto the back straight. He's on driver's right, and there's no way I can see the
purple flag.
And the purple flag is out. And down below us, it's full course caution, code 60, and it must be for that car. Very sensibly with the 4-way flashes on. Now, Paul, this has fallen beautifully for Sandstrom and Edwards, has it not?
Yes, provided that... Well, it depends how far they are round, because they need to get in before too long.
In the second sector now. Edward is about to complete a lap.
Well,
will he come through or will he stay out?
He's come through.
Right.
Stanford just went by. So.
He's come through. He's confirmed in second position at the moment, obviously, with the pit stops around him. And there is the car. It's a 43 Porsche. Thanks, guys. Well picked up. The guys at Turn 1's picked that up.
That's your leader. That's your leader in...
oh, that's the Force Racing in 997. That's the first time we've seen this car have any kind of problems. Well picked up. We were just saying how well they're done getting up into the top 15. And they're right at the end of the stint, you know. That car's been out for an hour and 48 minutes. I wonder if he's run out of fuel.
John should also say we've seen a number of cars come by that purple flag at some pace since it's been out. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see some penalties resulting from that.
Okay.
At very considerable pace and some time after the purple flag came out.
Okay, that's not what we want to hear from the guys. They've normally been pretty good. Now, who's in the pit lane? Who can get in and make some advantage? Just not go really quiet when they slow down to 60 clicks. That's really bizarre.
While they're under caution, are the first four cars on a 205 pace?
Yes, they are. Just hang on 1 second.
While you're number crunching,
no, that's fine. The first
looking
four
at how
cars
remarkably close their best times are to that mark.
Yeah, 3, 1, 6 and 16 are all on 2 minutes 05s.
And their best times are, respectively, number 3, 205.003, 205.009 for number 1, 205.015 for number 6, and 205.065.
Now, that's not quite the whole truth, because the best time is not the best time. The best time is the best time ignoring the joker laps. Because what the timekeeper's doing, which is actually fairly helpful because it alerts us to when there is a sub-joker lap time, is they're kind of excluding those lap times off the list, and so that when there is a joker type lap, it comes up as a green lap for us so we can see it. So those aren't quite the best times, but you're right in saying, Graham, that they are very close in their whole strategy. I mean, they've all got the same size fuel tank. They're all allowed to put the same amount of fuel in at every stop. So, in a sense, what Jerome Blakelow was saying, if he can get 15 minutes or 7 laps more on a tank full, then it's a very useful thing for them to be able to do. Whilst we're having our own disc and pad change here in the booth.
I thought we did that rather well.
You took advantage of the code 60, John.
Yes,
and,
we did. Now the question is, have we got Goodwin back underway?
Yes.
Just get the mic a bit closer.
Yes, you have.
No, don't do
well
that.
done, boys. You're doing me.
Another great Phil Hudson effort there. So this now is the third code 60.
It is now the third.
I feel I've said that before.
Yeah.
It's the second time I've been on the opposite side of the world, and he's been my secret weapon.
Yeah, well, there you go.
2000 in Australia.
Race of 1,000 years.
Yep.
Not talking to you about that.
Sorry.
Now, the errant Porsche is under tow and comes, not helping, comes back through the cutout again. I think this is very well practiced, clearly, and it's working very well indeed.
Well, we should know very quickly whether or not that is short of fuel, because presumably if it is, they won't take it back to the pit stop. They'll take it straight to the fuel.
Ah, that's a very good point, Graham. You're thinking ahead, aren't you? Another pickup truck being... I tell you what, he's hammering around. he's not losing much to the 60, is he?
These guys don't waste
Look
any
at that.
time.
Fair play to whoever's in that car, because they put the hazard flashes on straight away and pulled off the racing line. I thought for a moment they were facing the wrong direction, but that was my mistake, not theirs. Let's quickly sum up then for our Motors TV viewers, because they'll be leaving us for the overnights for a little while. Sean Edwards leads from Ed Sandstrom now in second place. Those two guys surely going to dive into the pits here. I think they may have missed the opportunity. If Sandstrom could have got him, they are coming, and they are together on the track. Look at that. That's a lap between those guys, but no more. Absolutely together when the code 60 came out. So that is quite remarkable how that's all come together. Max Bunk is in third place in the number 6. Andreas Simonsen is in fourth in the 16. And Nick Damon is down in the pits to watch the two leaders, first and second place, coming in with a lap between them, Nick.
They've come out gets Sean Edwards, in gets Caron Beekemolen, so he's only had that 2 session off and got back in the car again. So they're alternating during the night that they continue to be their 2 fastest drivers. No sign of a pad change, they're not taking advantage of that. They are simply just getting this quick full service. Tyres, fuel obviously, because he's on the edge of his running time. He fires up and goes what was a pretty quick stop. So we are, as he now has to wait slightly to get the Reiter Lamborghini way, and behind it looks like I can't see the beam of what it's doing at the moment because it's a bit further away. It's still in the pit lane, I'm not sure whether they did the pad change. They will obviously change drivers, and then out it goes now. So he lost a few seconds, but under code 60, not very much. But again, I think he had a slightly difficult pit entry with the cars around him coming in at very odd angles.
Now, what he might be in trouble with here is how many fuel tanks there are available, because already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think there's only 2 left, and he has got, well, he's into the tank area. I think he might just, and this is the number 1 Sally Fulton's car we're talking about, he might just have sneaked onto the last 2 of the 10. That is the danger of coming in when everybody's there, of course. So let me quickly run down some of the other leaders as we go back to Green Flag Racing. In 997, the Falk Racing car has just come back on the end of the tow rope to the pit lane. We're not sure why that car stopped out on track at the moment. Can Car World Motorsport, the 41 car, make up? It's now 7 laps between it and the leader. In SP3, Optimum Motorsport have completed a brilliant comeback to lead SP3. And in A2, it's now the Besserplas Racing Team Mini, who's in the 30th position. And in SP2, the Las Morris Racing Team in the Renault Megane are leading it. And that's how they stand, with still 14 hours and 3 minutes of racing to go. Nick Damon.
Well, that is all we have time for right now on Motors TV. We'll be back in just 90 minutes' time, so don't go anywhere with a quick update, the last update until the morning here in the Dubai 24 Hours. It's certainly been a situation where in the last 3 hours you've been with us, the race has completely turned around. These code 60s are causing both mayhem and opportunity. We're seeing people coming forward, so don't forget to tune back to Motors in just 90 minutes for the Dubai 24 Hours, the 7th running. See you soon.